Drew is first. Drew is first. No, good morning, guys. How you doing today? Good morning, Junior. How you guys doing? Glad to see you here this morning, Drew. Hope everything's going well for you. Looks like we are correct to be pointing out the fact that there are divergences here. We did just get that CPI to come out this morning, right? We did get that CPI to come out this morning, and we noticed that it did come in. As far as it goes, this is very, very nice. Core inflation rate month over month coming in at 0.2, previous 0.4, below the expected. Core inflation rate 3.1, previous 3.3, kind of even with expectation there. Inflation rate coming down, the inflation rate year over year coming down. This is going to see very good things, and this is kind of what we want. Now, what do we want at these times? Well, we're at that moment where we might see the uninversion take place again, and we actually could see people celebrate the fact that yields might need to come down. And I think that's something we need to consider, because that is something that can cause a big rally, but we understand that that's actually the signal we're looking for a big drop. So it will possibly form some kind of trap. So we're going to be paying attention to it this morning. We're going to be paying attention to it for the next few weeks if it is going to make that lower high that we discussed in last night's video. And if you didn't have a chance to watch last night's video, it was a different kind of video, more just trying to answer those questions. And I had to do it periodically. I had to do it over time because we had a lot of distractions here. But hopefully the point was getting across of, hey, yeah, can buyers take control here? Yes, you have signals for that. Can we see another drop down? Well, that's where we'd have to pay attention to those failures. So kind of upsetting, whenever I make a bullish video, it doesn't do as well. And that's just the unfortunate thing about YouTube. So if you want to see that video, it just explains why and what we're thinking about in these areas as we're outside of a weekly, as we're outside of a monthly expected move, and we can see those reversals happen now. But with the signals we have now, it could be more complex, so let's watch out for some rejections in these areas. If the daily is able to cross up, then we're looking for a possible lower high up towards 600, up in this box up in here. It could really be like 594 all the way to 608, really we could. So we'll pay attention to that. Also, the SPY could go make a new all-time high and the Qs could give a lower high, right? We could still see something like that. So there's a lot that could happen. So get your daily expected moves up, because today we just need to watch this 30-minute and make sure everything's dandy as we're heading to the upside. 568.43 to the upside, 543.41 to the downside. So still in that negative trend. So if we do curl over into negative territory, we need to be aware that we can take out this low and go make a new one. So something that we really want to happen is either we build up to an area and hold up better, right? We can still curl this down and see that higher low, or we see a bigger move. We see something a little bit crazier. That would be very, very nice to fill this gap, see that pullback at that point, right at this level, right in the middle of this here. See that curl down. Actually, a reaction up to that 584 would be even the best, in my opinion. Then you can see that we'd be doing something different. What's the thing that we'd be doing different? Well, that 5-day moving average coming down, we have never seen price take it back, right? We've seen it attempt to take it back, but fail. 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 So if this is going to attempt to take it back, then we probably need to pay attention to if it's going to fail. That's going to help us out a lot. Panic, breaking, recession, crash. That's all you need for a good title. It's true. And that's the sad part. It's like, I don't want to clickbait people or anything like that. Really don't. Like, that's why I always, when I put stock market crash and I'm saying the opposite in my video, I always put it in quotes. I'm like, yeah, they're saying stock market crash, but this looks like reversal that could have a more complex bottom still at this point because of the structure of the SPY. But we clearly talked about the fact that there's like 10 stocks that we pay attention to that have looks like Nvidia even. We have stuff like Microsoft and Google showing some really, really nice looks as well. Look at that 2-hour divergence. Look at this 2-hour divergence. So even though the SPY and the Qs don't have the best 2-hour divergence, it still has it on the RSI. It's just not the best. All of the other stocks really do. Like, a lot of the stocks that I pay attention to do have those signals. Even Palantir. I think even SoFi had it. I'm pretty sure even SoFi held the tapering here, but you'll notice we're giving it up on the MACD. It's kind of like a JP Morgan, right? You see it on the RSI, but not necessarily on the MACD at the same time. So it's just an interesting time, but I think for the time being, we're just like, okay, there's reversal signals in all these big stocks, so this could potentially be a bottom. And we already discussed in the video last night of how this could be more complex on a 30-minute, how it could become more complex on a 2-hour, and then how it could be a lower high on the daily. Come on, you dirty duck. Come on, JP Morgan. This one was unfortunate and it really got wiped out, but you'll see these times right now. This might be an overreaction. It genuinely might be an overreaction, but as of right now, I think you hit the JP Morgan long put level. So very interesting. That would be for the SPY or the SPX. But we'll notice here that the 2-hour is still holding the signal. Just you're holding it though. So there is still a chance. Now, JP Morgan is one that would heavily lean towards more corrective type moves before it's able to head up. But we'll see what happens, right? We still get more data throughout the week. Remember that. It doesn't stop today. Tomorrow we will get the PPI, core PPI, initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims. And then Friday we will get the Michigan consumer sentiment. So those are going to be 2 very important days, and man, I would be a little bit surprised if consumer sentiment came in higher. I would be a little bit surprised there. But JP Morgan outside of a monthly early on in the month, JP Morgan outside of the weekly early on in the week. So seeing a bounce like that, you know, from JP Morgan makes a lot of sense. Nvidia, some similar stuff going to a buy zone, great reversal signals. So not a lot of complaining to do. I mean, you're just seeing reversal signals, trade setups are there. This is what it seems like to me. Trade setups are there, right? If I wasn't paying attention to anything, all I would see on my charts, if I wasn't reading into the news, is, hey, 2-hour divergence down by outside of weekly or monthly expected moves. Okay, so if the trade goes, we get the trigger, this thing confirms, awesome. Be it, I'm potentially going to take a trade, and then all I have to do from there is to go, how do I want to manage risk if something goes wrong? Where am I planning to take profit? Right? So for the SPY, I think you're going to probably see a pullback once we hit something like 585 if we're able to get there. Right? A pullback at this level would make sense unless we're squeezing, right? If we're squeezing, then we could see it go all the way up to 598, right? 598.30, right? If we get to this level and we see a pullback, hey, it's very likely if that pullback holds that we can go to all-time high actually if we get the pullback here. But if we see this surge and surge and surge without getting one of those pullbacks in these areas, then I think you really have to be worried once you hit that whole number of 600. I think if you get past these levels, right, maybe we make that right shoulder that could have been, but if you get past these levels really quickly, you might see that opposite drop. We're going to see if we leave behind gaps and things like that as well. But for today, the 30-minute chart is going to be important. If you need the levels for the Qs for the daily expected moves, you have even more implied volatility today. 484.54 to the upside. You see that with the red line on your chart. This is your 68% zone for the day. Look how big that is. And then to the downside, 458.66. So very clear level to pay attention to is that upside level, right? We see how we could build up to that level, maybe get a pullback and use that monthly expected move as support again. That would be very, very cool to see, right? We lose the monthly, we use it as resistance, we head lower. We come up, we see it as resistance again, we get good news to gap back above it, we go to a daily expected move, pull back to retest it, maybe use it as support to head higher. If we lose it again, that might be a problem. So I think this looks pretty nice here. But I'm always a little sketched out during retail hour, you know what I mean? The level of the daily expected move for today, very interesting. That 540 is really what I've been watching, right? That's like the worst. I was like, if we do not hold up at 540, you can drop much lower, maybe even down to 500 at that point. So this is going to be an important level. That's why we're paying serious attention to if we reject at that 5-day. All it's going to take in order to reject that 5-day is probably for Trump to do some kind of, tariff thing with Canada, China, Mexico, wherever the heck he wants, and people will flip out again. But our point is to not flip out. Our point is to just do what the charts are telling us, right? So if we see this 30-minute to get to here and then turn down and actually cross in negative territory, we have to treat that as, even if it's going to do this, But if it crosses over, we still have to treat it as risky. Because you are in a negative trend, you can easily cut the low and go make a new one, and that 540 is down there, 543 for the daily expected move. So you have to be open to this still being more complex because you don't see the signals on the SPY. Once again, I am not leaning towards that. I am leaning towards we are going to attempt to take back the 5 like today, right? I'm just aware of how that could do something else. I can be leaning towards something and still be aware of the thing that would hurt me, right? Very easy, very nice. This is very simple stuff because all we see are reversal signals everywhere. So there should not be any confusion, and then it should just be as long as that's why the video last night, the title or the descriptor title of that video was planning the trade, plan the trade, right? Plan the trade, then trade the plan. I love that saying. I can't remember who said it, but thank you for that. The casino is about to open. My Tesla 235 call is finally about to pay off on the gamble I took yesterday. Let's go short Fridays. Talk about that $5,000 Doge dividend, and we gonna fly one day. Be careful shorting this market. I think you're very reasonable to say that at this point, right? If I'm going to take a short position, even if I'm a day trader, I'm most likely not taking it here when I'm seeing this, right? I'm more likely to take it here when I see the rejection. But notice that 5-day is coming down, so if we get up there, we might get above that 5 for a minute here. Let's see what happens. Still waiting on that 2-hour to confirm. And we still got to be aware if that crosses down. So I would highly encourage you to watch yesterday's video. I actually I watched it myself again just to make sure it was overall helpful. And I think it genuinely was. I know I had a lot of distractions while making it, so I was trying to keep it as straightforward as possible. But I just think that it's like, hey, this is exactly how I would I pretty much was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I manage the trade. NVIDIA buy today? Well, NVIDIA has the reversal signals. It actually said buy yesterday. NVIDIA said buy yesterday. NVIDIA 30-minute divergence right here. Even the 30-minute gave you that early signal. I think it was this bar right here. Look at that. That bar right there said buy me. And we never curled back down. 15-minute didn't even curl back down. So no management of the trade taking place here for NVIDIA. So if I was just watching a 30-minute and I know there's a 2-hour divergence behind it as well, really like the play, right? NVIDIA looks nice. Really nice. Now we got to see if it can hold above the 5. Hell yeah, brother. We're so back. You're still in the middle stages. So this is where it's like you don't really feel secure until that daily turns up. Genuinely, you don't feel secure until that daily curls up, and that could take place at like 580. That could take a little bit of time. I don't think you feel comfortable until this 30-minute goes positive, right? Because you could reject from this 5. Really, once you take the 5 back, you start to feel better. Let's put it that way. Once you actually take the 5 back, you feel better. Why is that? Because everything has been breaking below the 5 and confirming again and again rejection at the 5-day moving average. So a lot of things taking back their 5-day moving average would be something very different. All right, that means the trend could be changing, which is nice. Is it a counter trend, some kind of bear market rally? The signals suggest that we have to be very open to that. One thing I would say, Short Fridays, about that $5,000 dividend is I'm just looking at the savings on the debt clock, and I think once that actually hits 5,000, they might do something. But we'll see. They might like take their time with it. We had a few people yesterday that did subscribe. We had Nicholas, we had Cody, we had Browsy. Thank you guys all for subscribing. Appreciate you guys. If we wanted to look at some stocks, now remember Apple. Apple was one that we did not necessarily like. Apple is telling you a different story, but giving you potential daily double bottom. Wouldn't that be crazy? You have to be aware if this could be an ABC pattern in some way. This does not have any good reversal signals at all for Apple. So that's why we haven't been talking about Apple. Tesla Tesla, on the other hand, kept the 2-hour divergence. You see the 2-hour extended divergence here, seeing that curl up to the upside on this bar. Not a good confirmation on any of these, and no confirmation from the MACD. So this will be your confirming bar. So if you're part of Patreon, be definitely paying attention to where those monthly expected moves are. But this is suggesting, hey, the 2-hour could be enough of a push to curl up this daily chart. We're gapping above the 5. Can we curl up this daily chart, get to 305? Maybe we experience a small pullback, but the ultimate goal is to try to get all the way back to 357.78 for Tesla. That would be amazing. Amazon with great signals that suggest the daily chart is going to curl up. Look at that gap above the 200. Very nice. 2-hour divergence. Amazon is such a good look. It is insane. You had one blip moment on your MACD, but that blip does not show up for the RSI. I'm just going to show this again because my goodness, look at that. It looks so nice. And this is curling up, and it curled up yesterday, right? There were decisions to be made yesterday, right? This is why we put out a video at an hour before the close on Patreon yesterday to show you guys all this stuff. And I was trying to do it very quickly so I could be like, oh, I need to get this out there. But, these things do add up to, hey, unless we're seeing a 30-minute reject down here, we're not scared of this at all. The only thing we're really afraid of going forward is potentially data, right? Data that could shift things, and rejections, right? Is this enough good news for us to wipe all of the bad news out? JP Morgan, I think it's got a good chance to see a snapback. It's just unfortunate because you really violated the 2-hour divergence. Just looks really wonky now. It's still there, but it just invites this. Like, what this signal says is, okay, yes, now we can reverse around on the daily. That's what this signal says. But it also says this, the positioning of the MACD. Because of the divergence, it says this, it's potential. But because of the positioning of the MACD, be very aware if this 2-hour climbs and then fails, maybe towards this price point of about 246.20. So if we go up like this, you're going to notice that 2-hour getting close to that center line and then curl back down. We chop the low maybe, or make a higher low. We can, right? It's deep enough, we can. But anytime that curls back up, this is what we want to be aware of for weakness. All right? That's what this chart is overall saying to me. That's what I see on the charts as of right now is, yeah, you have a signal that says a daily chart can curl up and we could see a big move. But you also have a MACD that's saying, hey, watch out for a 2-hour lower high right now. And I think that's how it goes. As far as Google, though, Google is just simple. Google is super simple. As far as Google goes, 2-hour divergence. If that confirms, we get the closing bar, a positive closing bar above the 9, it is very likely that we're going to confirm the daily chart to the upside and try to take back the 5 here. Google looks fantastic. Happy Way Up Wednesday, let's go. I'm out of Meta with the nice move. Just a little thing, just a little trade there. That one confirmed yesterday on a bad bar. Are people selling their NVIDIA longs? I think it depends on expiration. It depends. The thing about bear markets with me was I sold back and forth all the time. But these moments, guys, okay, I want you to understand something about bear market behavior in general. It really depends on what stage we are at. So if we go back to this bear market, you'll notice that once you actually do see, say, like a 2-hour divergence pop up down in here, you get a really good run. You really do. From the lows, like if you actually take the actual low to the high, you get a solid 8.38% move. But notice that that fails, right? That's because the daily is negative. This is the lower high that we're looking for. But when you see those 2-hour divergences pop up, you see a nice move. Now over here, you had 2-hour and 30-minute, I believe. And you had daily, right? We had daily 2-hour and 30 minutes. So that's going to be a stronger move, but we still want to mark off the zone where we had resistance previously. So something key to understand here is what kind of signals do we have right now? And you have 2-hour divergence that can curl up a daily chart, but do we have daily divergence behind it as well? So if this is going to be a bull market, we're probably not going to be seeing something like this. If this is going to be a bear market, then you're probably going to see something like this. So most likely, we need to see a pretty damn good reaction to the upside. So for this guy right here, it's like, so if I see this, what stage are we at? We don't have daily divergence. So if we're in a bear market, we might see this and then completely give it up. And then we're going to start to see that more bear market-like behavior, right? But if this is going to turn to the upside, then we're just going to see this be able to go positive. You notice that the last time the bear market that we just showed you, it really, even on the first dip down, it was so negative that it could not go positive. So we're really going to be paying attention to the signals up in these areas. And actually in that moment in the past, you actually got a double top. So back in the bear market, you do see signals like this a majority of the time. You will get fake outs all the time because they're giving those double pushes, those double dips, to get people overly bullish, to get people overly bearish before a big drop or a big pop. So if we see some kind of double top in these areas at a critical level, like say around that 600 or the lows here, even towards 590, we will be watching, right? But it's all going to be based on reacting to price action, and that's something a bear market makes you do. It's like it's pretty much a bear market is just like if you have to be reacting to the price action or be one of those people who take really long out options and just make the risk reward decision. Yeah, Richard, see Friday calls, you see a 5% move, it prints you some good money. I totally understand that. See, you would really assume that home builders would participate here. You would assume that they would. Now, just because that's dropping down initially, I mean, honestly, this just opened up and it's very flat. Now, we could have more to do here. This is the problem with XHB, is you curled down the 2 hour into negative territory. So even though you have this slight divergence here, you don't have it on the RSI at the same time. Do we see that? Okay, let's really talk about this. You have it on the MACD, not on the RSI. I would probably say, I look for the MACD a lot of the time, and I say I love the MACD because I use it for the confirmations. But really, as far as divergence goes, if it's showing up on the RSI and it's holding those points, I'm pretty happy with it. So at this point, we need to understand that this did not have divergence on the RSI. So if this crossed down, this could be some kind of ABC type move to get down to here, get people nice and bearish. We see this happen. So I think we do really want to be open to that for the market as well, but XHB might need that moment. If it's going to make the lower high, hey, that's fine too, right? Just all we're watching is this. If this curls up, good things. Daily scale is probably curling up. You have daily divergence going on. You're making another one. Really, it looks like this thing might rocket, and that's kind of scary. That is kind of scary. Kind of hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it rockets and fails. Because that's... You don't want to see houses getting more expensive, right? I did an NVIDIA play. Happy I did. Yeah, you had confirmations yesterday. That's what I'm saying, John. Okay, Jonathan, yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I want home builders to... Oh my God, it's like... I'm someone who blatantly I moved back to here, and you guys, maybe some of you guys were with me when I was looking for a place because my dogs, like, it's hard to rent here because nobody allows my dogs. But we finally found a little townhome, and during that time I was house shopping, and I was like, man, I just like, I don't even want to buy houses here, and they're not even that expensive here. It's just like, I'm like, I just can't. If it's not a good opportunity buy, I still don't do it, even though it's cheaper than Georgia. I think bull side can happen for that, but I think you're looking for that. I mean, home builders can go up, right? They're going to go up, but I'd be very careful. There's a lot of the it's different this time talk already starting today, okay? It's literally already starting today. God dang it. Did JP Morgan do it again? JP Morgan did it. It was like, no, we need to... Actually, this isn't a horrible thing, though. This actually isn't a bad thing. So here's the thing. If you leave behind gaps, right? Let's say we leave behind gaps and price action here, we price action here, we leave behind these gaps. You're very likely to potentially fill those gaps pretty quickly. So you kind of don't want to leave this first gap behind if you want a stronger move. I actually am okay with this. As long as this 30-minute doesn't curl down, I'm okay with it. Same thing would go across the board for a lot of these guys, right? If they're leaving a gap behind, we have to be paying attention to the gap, right? We just have to. And that's unfortunate, but we've been filling all these gaps that we've been doing in the SPY, right? Well, we're filling them like intraday and then seeing the real move, right? Hey, even this gap right here, oh yeah, it got us off to the races, a few gaps in here, right? This is what I'm talking about. And then we get more gaps, more gaps, more gaps, more gaps, right? And what do? Once we sell off, we just fill all those gaps like 2 weeks later. I don't really want to leave a bunch of gaps behind. I'm down for some kind of rally like that because once you start to leave gaps, it starts to become more so kind of bear market like, actually. Because even in these areas, I want you to look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days before you saw a gap. That's better. We didn't see a gap down here, right? We didn't see a gap down here. We saw a gap here and a gap here. Then we go fill one of them, we leave the other behind, right? That's nice. But if we would gap up like this here and then go to here, well, I think we're probably going to fill that thing later. But that's just reading into it. That's kind of speculating a little bit. No 2-hour cross up yet for the SPY. Are you still doing courses? Yeah, we're actually potentially, I'm trying to think of when to do the, because of this type of behavior, we always say when the bear market type behavior comes, I like to put the course on a sale because people are really confused. And if they could just, you know, at least get a good grasp, even on just monthly and weekly expected moves and what to look for around them, which is what the course really does well. If you get a grasp of that, this is not going to worry you nearly as much. Like, you're not seeing me freak out even for a second. I'm like, ah, damn, the JP Morgan play went awry, but hey, there's 10 other setups. Am I going to be unhappy and focus on JP Morgan, or am I going to think about the good stuff? So potentially thinking about putting the course for our first 2025, 2025 sale, not the annual $100 sale that we're doing every Christmas and New Year's, but the sale for this year, really thinking of doing that maybe in April. So I've been leaning towards April or May because sometimes you get the sell in May and go away. So I thought that would be a good period of time. But we'll see. And we got to look into some stuff. I got to look further into my own learning so that we can keep advancing that course. I think that'd be fantastic. As long as we're finding things that actually help trading, that's why I like to vet things before, make sure that I see them as really helpful to my trading before I discuss them in the course. I don't want to give you guys a million things to pay attention to and you're like, I'm just confused, right? That's what a lot of courses seem like to me. I just like to give you the very key things I watch. 30-minute, Justin, right? The video last night. You need to watch the video last night if you have those questions. Literally, the video like, I put out the video last night thinking, oh, this is going to get 10,000. This is going to be a huge video because I'm telling people pretty much exactly how someone would take a trade here, manage a trade here, and what they'd be looking for a target if we saw a squeeze. Like, I discussed all of that yesterday. Very plain. And I saw a bunch of people actually show up really early. A lot of you guys had notifications on because I saw a bunch of people watching it pretty much with me. And I was watching those likes come in. So thank you guys so much for liking my videos. But it's sad that the one time that I'm literally talking about every good setup I see, and I'm talking about those confirmations for those setups and how high the SPY or the Qs could go and how it could fail on the 30-minute, how it could fail on the 2-hour, how it could fail on how it could make that lower high on the daily. And it gets, no traction. That's unfortunate. Bullish videos. What's happening? Just woke up for a 2-hour nap. Hey, I hope that nap was good. Looks like we're just seeing some reversal signals. Looks like we got a decent CPI reaction here. Thoughts on TLT plays going into this rally? Something very, very clear that we need to pay attention to with TLT is the fact that that thing's probably about to boom soon. That thing is probably a few months away from absolutely tearing through some stuff. And I think that's the truth of it. Now, I see that what's going on here. I think we could potentially go lower. I actually think filling some of these gaps would make sense by this 200 on the 2-hour. As we look at the daily scale, mainly just looking for daily pullback. Okay, now something very good here is actually going to be the 10-year, and we're looking at the opposite on the 10-year. The 10-year here. This is going to be very good if we're going to notice that TLT is going to get a big moment here. Left head, right shoulder. If we see that right shoulder pop up, even if it goes up to here and then drops down and we curl down on this MACD, this is when we could potentially start seeing rate cuts, like big ones. That's at least how I see it right now. Obviously, things can change, but right now, if I see that right shoulder form and I see that curl down, I think TLT might see a big push. I think we might be heading to reinversion, and we might see a big-ass push. But you got to always be clear that, you know, price action changes at all times, right? So we want to be very clear that that's the assessment right now. But that's why we always encourage people, hey, make sure we're paying attention to if you can get hurt, right? That's what the video last night was really telling everyone about. You love the videos I've been posting. Okay, awesome, Duranto. Yeah, we're trying to put out some good stuff. I think yesterday's video is good. We're aware now how this can fail. I guess if you're part of Patreon, you should have seen a lot of that video too, because it was just going a little bit further, I guess, in the YouTube video, but we were trying to get that Patreon video out there pretty quick. Something here for the 30-minute for volatility. Yes, this can turn up, but what would we like to see? Well, if that turns up, what's the positioning of the MACD saying here? It's saying lower high now. You're actually at the lowest point you've come in the MACD since okay, here we go. Whew. Since January 15th on this 30-minute. So that means that we are very likely to see, hey, a lower high if we get a reaction here. And this would be that double dip, right? This would be another dip down to create that 30-minute divergence we were talking about on the SPY. Right, on the SPY, we do not, this is the only thing that really we mentioned that we need to pay attention to today is if we make a 30-minute divergence today. Seems people really heavy to the call side, so a divergence would be interesting. That would really fake people out. Five-minute kind of double top here, but we'll see. 30 minutes confirmed, so either way, to me, it's like, hey, if I'm making a decision, keeping something maybe for a month, I think it might not be a bad one. Make sure to pump the like button. I'm staying away from IWM. Yeah, some of the other indices, IWM, great signals as well, by the way. Holding on the 30-minute, just barely, very extended, so you want to be aware that you might make one in the near term. Right, but the 2-hour, and it's kind of multiple point, the 2-hour looks fantastic for IWM. I know it doesn't look good now. I would say give it some time, make sure things are producing, right? But IWM is confirming on a rejection bar, so I don't like that. We still have an hour and a half to go, though. So if this is green in any way, and especially if it's taking back that 5, I think you're pretty set on testing. Actually, the weekly expected moves at a nice area, 214.59. DIA, I don't think we have the right levels for this up right now. You're seeing more of a look like the SPY, more of a look like the Qs, where you're kind of failing these things. You're failing it on the MACD, but you are seeing it on the RSI still remain. So this means, yes, it's kind of like our description of the SPY and the Qs from last night's video. Yes, this is saying the reversal can happen, but you still have to be aware of failures, unfortunately. So looking for a daily to cross up with these. If not, you could make a 2-hour or 30-minute divergence in here still. You can make both, right? You can make both. What happened when we curled up over in these areas? What did we make? We made both. We made 2-hour divergence, we made 30-minute divergence, and then we popped off. Right here, you have 2-hour divergence on the RSI, not on the MACD at the same time. This was all at the same time, right? So this one was a lot easier. This one's a lot more skeptical, and when it's skeptical, it really makes me think, watch out if this is some kind of just rally that fails, because DIA is down really, really low. Now, on the daily scale, we can notice there's potential divergence on the daily scale, actually, but this is still just stating, it's like, okay, maybe it's flagging in some way, but this really, with the signals, is saying you have to be aware that this can happen. You're kind of hoping as a bull, it just keeps going up, right? If you're a bull and you have bull trades, you're just like, I hope that goes up. Do I see a sell signal? Am I hitting a monthly expected move, right? There's always a way to think about it a little bit more simple. But I do know a lot of people go kind of nuts in these areas, and they're confused and they're stressed out. And I'm like, when's the time where I should probably not be making money decisions? look, are you going to go buy a brand new car? Are you going to go spend $20,000 maybe on a car or something like that? If you're really stressed out, if you're anxious about buying the car, if you're sad about something that day, if you just got in a car accident that day, unless you really need the car, you're probably not going to go to the lot that day, right? You're going to wait till you're more calm. Same thing should be considered with trading. I mean, if I go into a trading session and I'm super pissed off because I had a trade go wrong yesterday, I'm just pissed. What kind of decisions am I going to make, you know? Holy crap. CPI does no impact. It has an impact. It has an impact, but now money's got to do money things. You can't expect to be like, oh, I want to see the whole CPI reaction in 25 minutes. But I would say this, and thank you so much, Jonathan, for the $10. Sorry, I don't see that popping up right now. Let me see what's going on with this thing. Why ain't that popping up? Let's see. Why didn't that pop up? Lame. Damn, unlucky. I wanted it to pop up there, but thank you so much, Jonathan, for the $10. Thank you so much for that. Buying a Tesla this year, hey, there you go. They need it, man. Their stock's kind of down, I heard. I heard their stock's a little bit down, swivel stick, so I think they need you to buy that Tesla. Look at who top ticked Meta. Did you catch it? What level did it get to? Let's look at this. This is nice. This is gap fill. This is the first area we should be paying attention. This is great. Because in the video last night, we were talking about these gap fills in the SPY and the Qs. We haven't gotten there at all for the SPY and the Qs, but other stocks are. That's a really good thing. NVIDIA able to get above that and even maybe chasing towards 117.50. Very, very nice. So these are good things, and we've taken back the 5. Now we have to be aware of 30 minutes crossed down. This is why I wish everyone watched the YouTube video last night, because I feel like I'm just repeating what I said yesterday. You know, people are pushing Teslas into lakes. Why do I feel like in some way that's really bad for the environment still? I know it's an electric car, but I'm like, somehow I'm like, that doesn't sound good. Like somehow I feel like just any car, electric or not, it's a green car. I don't care about the color, Justin. I think that, you know, whatever color it is, I mean, maybe the paint could rub off and hurt the lake. I don't know. Who has a green Tesla? That's just weird. I'm just messing with you, Justin. I know what you were talking about. Okay. Yeah, I bet the battery is, right? So that's the crazy part. I saw the funniest post. Some chick posted like her brand new Tesla, and she put in the description or something. I hope it was a troll. I hope it was just like a meme channel or something. But they put like, yes, my first EV. This car was 100% made without using any toxic chemicals or any oil and gas. And I just was sitting there like, Jesus Christ. I was just like, oh my God, we can't help society. I literally was just like, oh my God, we just can't help anyone anymore. It's impossible. Seriously, I think brain rot is a serious thing in today's society. I think it's crazy. I'm like, man. People think TVs are a necessity. I can't do it. All right, but let's look at some stocks. Who's got one they want me to look at? Some that we don't normally look at. Just give me a few, guys. I'm going to look at 5 stocks we don't normally look at. If anyone's got a fun one for me, I would love to look at that for you. You do know the batteries that are used in place of gas tanks are far, far nastier. Get them wet and they'll do bad things. Is it just the lithium, or what is going on to Mad Dog? I don't know a lot. Like, if you guys know, I'll let you guys know something. Cars, not my thing. I'm not a car guy at all. Okay, let's look at some of these. Okay, let's look at a few of these we're gonna start at the top. We can get through all these probably. Let's go through all these, and maybe that'll be a good enough one for a live show here. 30-minute, right away. Right away, okay. First of all, right away. No 30-minute divergence, but we like to do this a little bit backwards. Daily scale. Okay, daily scale is screaming lower. So immediately, if I was really wanting to, take a chance with this stock, and I think that this stock is going to get back to, let's say, $27 or $30 at some point, what's the very obvious thing that I probably don't want to do? Take an option and then expect it to get to $30, okay? That's not good. When I'm looking at a stock like this, and it's good to still look at things like this until rays really come off, and that's unfortunate. But for this stock, you have to look at it from a perspective of investment, because there's not a lot of good things you could do, and you're probably thinking, oh, I want to catch one of these, 100% moves with an option. Look, at the end of the day, it's a 100% move, right? Options go against you all the time. If I just see something down here and I want to buy it and it gains 100%, hey, if I can double my money there, I'm pretty happy with it. So you have to start really thinking on the investment side of things and understand that if you think it is going back to $30, I mean, technically, my goodness, that would be a gain, right? Like, we quickly understand. Let's see. That would be pretty much a 50x of your money. I thought it was 50x, but I was like, let me do math just in case. That would be 50 times your money. So let me tell you this now. Now, does this look highly probable to get to $30 in the next 5 years? No, it doesn't. But if I'm someone who believes in it and I like to buy these things, and I might see that get to $30 in the next 10 years, hey, maybe I could buy $1,000. $2,000, right? Something very, very small as an investment in something that's a little bit risky. And then if that goes up at any time, I can always sell it. But if it ever gets to $30, that $1,000 turns into 50 grand. That $2,000 could turn into 100 grand. But don't think that's going to be, I buy it and it goes right away and you should check on Tilray every single day. That's not how really investing in these type of things go. These are more just you buy it, you kind of forget about it, and then you see if it ever hits $10, $20, $30. That's more so how I look at it, because there's not a lot to go off of here. Oh, MSOS we'll look at in a second. Let me get through a few of these. QSI, hopefully that made some sense. Justin, thank you for that donation. Why did Justin's pop up, but they hated on Jonathan? That's messed up. Yeah, see, I don't do options with stocks like these, and that's just like 101. That looks very different than AMC and GME, by the way. AMC and GME have some flow to them. That doesn't. QSI, you're in an interesting scenario here where the daily has seen a big move. The daily has not even had divergences, but really topped out and just completely collapsed. One funny thing is, this is a pretty big squeezy looking move, right? This is a pretty big move, right? We're aware of that. Still showed you 2-hour divergence on the RSI before it dropped. Like, do you guys see, like, the reason I point these little moments like this out, the reason that I point these out is because I really want people to understand when they see these signals, the reaction you need to have. Especially after a massive move like this, it curls down, you lose the 5, you're going to potentially see a massive move down. You're going to see a lot of profit taking too, right? At this moment, you actually do, weirdly enough, have 2-hour divergence. This one looks a little bit different. You're not down at 60 cents. You're not seeing this, you're seeing more of that sideways right now. Versus the other one, Tilray, we looked at, it was more like sees these little pops, but just kind of does this, little pop does this. So for the time being, 2-hour divergence is there. Once again, I'm not the biggest on option. If I was doing an option, I'd probably use like $100, right? I'd be like, hey, $100 for a month. Let's see if this thing can go for a run. 2-hour divergence is suggesting that it could confirm today, so that's what I'd be paying attention to, but very skeptical one there. Looks like a decent area for where buyers do step in, though. We see these lows. We see the rejection highs. We see these lows in here for consolidation. We see lows across in this little zone here. So this is potentially a good area where investors might take a dabble. That's how I would look at this one. PCT. Make sure you're giving tickers out, guys. I wish I knew every single ticker, but I'm not that smart. I'm just a guy that looks at bars on a screen. Okay, so for the daily chart here, for 2-hour chart. 2-hour chart here, very, very deep. So right away, I want you to notice something. Okay, do you notice this? Okay, what happened at those lows? Okay, we saw 2 curl ups. What happened with those lows? Well, even from this point right here, actually, you actually see this. Up, still up. What do we see here? Up, right? Well, let's blow up that RSI so you can see it. Up, still up, right? Up, still up, right? Held it very, very well. Look at that. Look at that. Held it well. And this is what a lot of the stocks are doing now. So let's see what produced after the stocks did this here. And the MACD didn't look as good, I would say, right? Very extended. Boom. Big move, right? So if you're paying attention to it from that breakout, 32%. Big move. Great stuff. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm showing you something that worked. And then I want to ask you a question. Who mentioned this stock? Who mentioned this stock? Who the heck mentioned it? Monumental. Perfect. Monumental. And we'll look at TAM in a second. Monumental. Do you see anything like anything over here? Even though this is all wonky stuff, at least it was something on the RSI. At least it was something on the MACD. Do you see anything right now? Yeah, that's the easy question to start off it with. Right? Do I see anything right now, or will I have more time? Right? So this is one of those moments, Monumental, and I see you saying no. This is one of those moments with PCT, where as a trader, I can sit here and I can stare at this for 3 days. If I really want to trade PCT, like I'm just this is the stock I trade. I could sit here and I could sit here for 2 more days, 3 more days, while the 30-minute makes a divergence, then the 2-hour curls up, then the 2-hour curls back down, then it curls back up, and then all the way in April, right? Let's say weeks. That could take weeks. Okay? Am I going to sit and stare at this all the time, or do you think my time could be better applied somewhere else? Not necessarily a different stock. It could be, but if I'm someone who solely likes to trade, I'm just getting at like the times where I'm watching or waiting for a setup, and the times and what I'm doing during that time versus the times where the setup is there. When the setup is there, I'm watching it, it's very close, I'm reacting. When the setup looks like it's days away, I might check in on it once a day just to make sure something's happening. But really, there's no decision to be made. And this is one of those times where I tell people, it'll drive you crazy to just stare at stocks all the time and wait for these things. And you're going to just have more moments where you're going to decide maybe to do a bad decision. So what I would do is just say, hey, if this thing rockets up for any reason, okay. There was no good reversal there. It's a very random occurrence. There was no edge. I'm waiting for the edge. Once I see that edge, then I have a clear decision. During that time, if I'm only going to trade this stock, then why am I going to sit here and watch all of this happen when, if I'm watching this happen? Let's talk about the bad decision I could make if I'm watching this happen. Well, the bad decision I could make is, hey, maybe this ends up being a good one, but we talk about better decision making. So if I take this just on a curl up, the positioning of the MACD is suggesting, hey, watch out for a lower high. If I take this on the curl up and I'm expecting reversal, that's going to be a big problem. Now, the reason that's a big problem because, yeah, I could be right. And if I do that decision over and over again, I'm probably going to end up hurting my account. Right? Even if it's right a couple of times, the 3rd time, the 4th time, and the 5th time could all be wrong. Right? Because you're more likely to create that base in some way. Right? Now, that means a strong move with a higher low. That means a weaker move with a lower low. Now, here's the problem. What if this never turns back around and I'm still holding on to that position? I lose everything, right? Even if I have an extended out option and that thing never curls back up, I lose everything. This is the patience that needs to be taken. This is the monthly expected move patience that needs to be taken, in my opinion. Sorry, we're getting through these kind of slow, but Tempest, what's the ticker for Tempest? Let's look at Lucid while we get that ticker for Tempest. It's TEM, isn't it? Is that TEM? That's probably TEM. I don't pay too much attention to it right now, but I need to make a little list of stocks like that. Yeah, monumental. And that's more of a lesson on how to keep a good mental state for the long term as a trader. If I sit and I watch this stock and I watch this stock and I watch the stock, that means more time sitting at a roulette table, pretty much. Like, imagine it's more time sitting at a roulette table before something sets up, and then you might see like, oh, there's 2 black in a row, aka like, hey, something good, a 2 hour crossed up, maybe it's going to be black again. You know, you might make one of those decisions that's not the best before something actually sets up. TEM, okay, good. I was like, I literally asked you guys for the ticker and I saw TEM 5 times, and my brain's trying to focus on the charts though. 2 hour rejection divergence. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of rejection divergence here. Okay, so I better see something on this 30-minute. Weirdly enough, this 30-minute, if that can go more, if it can break through these levels, I really like it. I think you really want to get to 267 to be very confident. 267, then we curl down, we retest that 5, then we potentially can keep this thing going. So what do I also need to watch in this area? Probably 2 hour rejections at any time right now. But is the daily curling up? That's going to be a big deal. Looks like we're getting close, and we haven't gotten, really, that's a higher low. So, but we see the very obvious level to pay attention to for rejection. So this could see an upward move, has that 2 hour rejection divergence, but we see the very obvious area, 267, right? Very, very obvious area where that can get rejected. And it's probably a zone. You see these wicks and you see this low. It's probably a zone here. So anywhere around this line, right? Maybe a little zone here. Just that looks like where, if we got there, we could get rejection. Very nice. Let's go look at that Tempest real quick. Nope, not TWM. And then I type it wrong. Look at that. Tempest for now. The daily scale. Okay. I actually like this look so far, right away. Okay, so we have tapering. We have a daily that is decently close to the center line, still a little negative, so risky. We have a gap below us, but we also have gap support right below us. So we have that opportunity to go fill that gap. That's fine. Okay, awesome. What did we see before the last big move? What did we see before the last big move? Uh-oh, what's that? Let's go see. Oh, look at that. Extended 2 hour divergence, right? Very extended, but very significant 2 hour divergence right here. Kind of like that NVIDIA stuff. Now, a little bit different than NVIDIA, but still that rejection with the gap, and then we curl to the upside. You get that confirmation right here above the 5 and the 9. You even get it right here, but if you take anywhere in here, it makes sense. Boom to the upside. Okay, so if we want that boom to the upside, we might need to see something like this right over here. Do we see something like that right over there? Yes, you do, right? Look at your MACD. Okay, we had this one, and then we extended out and made that one. Okay, so you have that right now, and you haven't seen a big curl up or anything like that. So you have the tapering, you're holding the tapering, very nice. You have 2 hour divergence, you have 2 hour divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time, triple divergence on the RSI. So this is suggesting that Tempest AI could see a nice upward move, and the daily didn't have divergence. We'll still realize that's negative and look for a lower high. But for the time being, this is showing 2 hour divergence. Let's see if that 30-minute is suggesting we can turn around. Okay, so the 30-minute looks like a lot like almost the SPY, where it almost has some type of signal, but it's not the best on the MACD, I would say. I would say this is very complex on the MACD at this moment. Except for the near term, very near term, but very flat. So something here that we'll watch for is if we reject from here and make that quick divergence, right? We still have that gap below us too. We have gap support. Potentially you could go down to 41.87 and then see that turn back around. But overall, looking for that 30-minute to confirm, looking for the 2 hour to confirm, it did. So we're looking for the daily to curl up here. Signals don't look bad. They can always fail. The failure I would be looking for here is if that 30-minute crossed down. Yeah, we can, Hiron. Let's go. Let me go to the top here and see if there's any interesting ones. We did Lucid, so let's go look at Neo real quick. These are some interesting ones, but Neo with the screaming move higher, very nice. And this is why you still want to be paying attention to those higher lows, right? Look at that higher low that sent you above the 5. Very nice. So we still want to be watching for those higher lows as well. And then we're going to get back over to the SPY and look at some other things. But For this one, the 2 hour here is interesting because you're just screaming up to the sky. You did leave behind a gap. It's very likely that we're going to see resistance come in and try to fill that gap, but the 2 hour is pretty damn positive, so that's very, very nice. 30 minutes very positive as well, so you could literally see the 30-minute tear down and then go all the way back up, right? We don't see any reversals here, so for the time being, for the most recent thing, right, the closer one that we could react to is the 30-minute. If the 30-minute crosses here, you're most likely going to go test that 5. If you lose the 5, you're probably filling this gap, and that's where things could get a little risky. But for the time being, if you see this MACD positive in any way, and then that turns back up, hey, you can see more positivity. Let's look at a few that we normally do pay attention to. Someone wanted to look at SoFi. We did mention this already, but 30-minute divergence on the RSI, not the best on the MACD, but very extended across on the MACD. So good signal. 2 hour, you have the divergence on the RSI, not on the MACD at the same time. So you have to be aware that the 2 hour is really leaning towards a failure here for SoFi. Now we'll see. This looks exactly like JP Morgan. This looks exactly like, almost like the SPY, right? So ultimately, 200, you're looking for that daily to get a bounce. Can we bounce to 1387? And then can we bounce to 1450? And then ultimately, the best way to build higher is potentially to get to, I think, 1678 and then get a good pullback. We see that that level right there with the wick would be very nice. We come up to here, we see that pull back, we see that curl up potentially with earnings. That would be all good stuff, but earnings can be a 50-50 flip. Very nice. And then Palantir as well. There's just similar scenario to a lot of the things we're looking at where the daily has no reversal signals. It's kind of close to the center line. We have to be aware of lower high, right? But you do have great signals for Palantir. I just think these are fantastic. I think Palantir has some of the best signals out of all of them. I think Palantir looks really nice. Like, if this can fully print in above the 5 in an hour and 15, you still want to be aware. We can always go, lightly go fill that gap. But as long as it's 30 minutes not fully crossing over, I'm pretty happy with Palantir. But I realized that we didn't necessarily have divergence initially. So I'm very open to this. One more fake out, then we go up. But I don't want to be in calls during that fake out if that happens. So if the 30-minute turns down, I think that the 2 hour will be failing, and then maybe we make that quick divergence. If that divergence does form and confirm, I think that's the potential timing there as far as decision making goes. But the 2 hour crossing up, if this would print, it would suggest, hey, good things can happen. But this is a scenario where it's like, if I take this, I immediately am watching the 30-minute. Okay, so if I take this, I immediately would have Palantir up on my other screen, and I would look at SPY and stuff over here and have Palantir up on my other screen. And if this crossed down, I'd be out of the play. If it crosses back up, I'd be right back in, and I'd say thank you for the better price. Nice CPI today, right, Sid? Why it was a sell-off? Why what was a sell-off? Why, what was a sell-off? You have to understand, you're trying to, if people have a good reaction to this data, if this data is good to people, you have to understand people are in that selling market, and they just saw like 5% move, 7% move for Tesla, 5% for Nvidia. You're probably potentially going to get day traders involved who are just selling, right? The rips get sold. So what you need is a rip that can't get sold. Or to get that rip to hold up better, get buyers to hold that floor. Right? This, you really need that to get to here and then move that floor up, right? Move the floor up. Move the floor up. That's what we need to do. We'll see. Good stuff. So once again, still 30-minute could just project down. Tesla's up 7%. That's right. For Nvidia, it really depends on the structure throughout. We're still aware that the 30-minute can reject this. As far as Nvidia goes, if it would see the daily move, right, we'd be really paying attention to breakdown areas like 126.75. I think that would be important. right? Right now, you're technically out of resistance right now, right? But we want to be paying attention to 126.39, and then I'd pay attention to the fake out, which is we slightly break through this, and then we curl down. But you have daily divergence, so we'll see. NVIDIA's interesting. Like, this could still go to all-time highs. It definitely could. Microsoft not seeing the best things. Not getting that to curl up yet, right? No confirmation yet from Microsoft. So 30-minute here, might need to make that divergence first. I swear it's good to have monthly expected moves and weekly expected moves. Yeah, we can see one more turn down would make a lot of sense for Microsoft. So I'd be very open to a little 30-minute move to the downside to fake people out. At least for Microsoft. All right, let's do our poll. Let's do our poll today. Let's see how people are thinking. All right, there you go. QQQ, the thing about the SPY and the QQQ, you're looking for the similar thing. So if the SPY curls down on the 30-minute, the Qs are probably curling down on the 30-minute. I want you to pay attention to the difference here. SPY, that's the direction, right? A little bit more flaggy. The good part about the Qs is they're actually showing that positivity a little bit more. We notice that the direction is more in that upward move, which is nice. It invites flags. So we'll see if that's able to take place. I still think the Qs would like to react all the way up to this gap fill. I think a reaction up to this gap fill before you get a pullback is very necessary, but we're aware that the 30-minute does not have great reversal signals. So the 30-minute in the video last night, if you watched last night's video, this is what we're paying attention to today, right? We said 30-minute on the SPY is mainly what we'll watch today. That's what we said in the video last night. Why? Because the 30-minute can show us the first rejection, right? The tightest, the smallest time frame I look at is going to be the first one I have to watch for rejection. It just makes, sense. We can. A lower high is more probable with the data, with the price action that we have right now. A lower high seems more probable. So we are going to have to see something like the last time that this type of thing happened. We are going to have to see something like this, where it seriously bottoms out. Seriously bottoms out. And I think you're at risk that you're going to seriously bottom out and you're not going to catch yourself this time. I think you could seriously bottom out and not catch yourself, right? We noticed that we bursted higher, caught ourselves, right? 30-minute divergence was there at this point, not down here. We had to use NVIDIA and other stocks for that. That's what we're doing right now. So if we see that big move come, we want to be aware that it doesn't have to just be a pullback like last time. But notice this. The MACD is deeper. That's one. Notice the other thing, this was able to go into positive territory. If this curls up and can't go positive, that's a lot different. So we'll be watching that, but you would need a very strong move to go to all-time highs for the Qs. I think if the Qs want to go to all-time highs, I think they need to react to that monthly expected move upside and then see us pull back and head to the upside, because that's what it's going to take to see this thing go positive. So if it's curling down in negative territory, I'm going to treat it seriously. Even if it's around negative territory, I'm still going to treat it seriously and make sure it's curling back up. How do you know when it's lower high? Well, you have to understand a couple of things. One, price action, right? Price action is very important. What's different here, right? Well, during this run, 2 hours probably made a bunch of lower or higher lows, right? Once you started to lose those, you started to get rejections and head lower. So that means lower lows, right? So for this overall move, we're doing good stuff. We're doing good stuff. We have another higher low. We have another higher low here. We just wiped out one. We just wiped out another. So when you want to be open to a lower high is when you start to make lower lows, and you're making a lower low here. Okay, so the fact is, though, you still have this higher high, so you need to prove this with a lower high. And all this would be is pretty much a liquidity grab. How's everyone? Post-apocalyptic market day. Maybe higher till Wednesday, Thursday before options expiration, then break. Break? I don't know about break. I could see pullbacks and things like that. It depends on how people position. As of right now, people were really heavy to the call side again, and then immediately started to flip the other direction, but still at 0.75, so nothing crazy, right? But a lot like yesterday where we saw that spike up. We'll see if this can spike up today. But we haven't seen those super bearish bets. I mean, look where we've been remaining, kind of in the middle for the most part. So neutral is how it seems the PCC or even the CPC, if you want to look at that. I would rather look at the CPC to understand, hey, it's rather neutral, weirdly enough. Which means if a big sell comes in, these neutral people might sell, right? They might actually go to the put side now. If a big buy comes in, I think they're prepared to go to the call side very quickly. So I think you could see a quick move based on which way this thing decides to go. As of right now, the signals would suggest that it's going to go up, right? The 30 minutes still suggests that. A lot of 2-hour charts have confirmed. You're just remaining in this area. You're not seeing anything. So I think people were like, oh, the CPI, I'm going to sell that thing off. I'm going to buy puts into this. There's no way this market could go up. And then the CPI comes out like that, and they go, ah, crap, it's not selling off. And now it's just holding flat. So if there's big bearish bets today, they can lose money just from it holding flat. Let's go look if there's big bearish bets today. Let's see if people made some bearish bets yesterday. Well, let's see. We have 25,000 open interest at 540. We have 21,000 at 545. And the first level is 558 with 10,000. You have a 0.85 put to call ratio. So the first level I'd really be watching. You're kind of stuck between 560 and 558 right now. That's probably why you're kind of pinned. You're kind of pinned between two little levels in here. And we have to see who takes over, and then we're potentially going to see this. So if we break to the upside, the potential is 570. Look what's there. Okay? If we break to the downside, okay, what level do we need to be watching? 545. What's there? Right? And that's all we have to watch. So if bears take control this morning, we're probably going to go to 545. If bulls take control, then we're probably going to 570. We'll see, but we could also sit here all day. If we sat right here all day, do you know who would lose money? Everybody. This is like market maker dream, is if you just sit here all day. Let me close this down real quick. Say that 10 times fast. Why is the 10-year up on lower inflation? It might be a thing of like, it's not slowing fast enough. You know, some people saying like, oh, this is insanely good because the inflation rate year over year came down to 2.8, or the inflation rate month over month. What do they care about? They care about the core inflation. And core inflation, at least from the month to month, I mean, yeah, it was a reduction from the expected of 0.1%. That's not the biggest, but it's still good. A core inflation rate year over year, though, came in at 3.1, which is pretty much expected. So if it's coming in at expected and we're supposed to be making ground on inflation at all times, that's why we've been higher for longer, then why isn't it dropping faster, right? That's the thing that could go on in my head that convinces me, okay, that's not the best news, and maybe the 10-year yield is thinking that as well. Right? But why is the 10-year yield going up from my assessment, from my analysis, based on technical analysis? Because you hit a key level. You hit a key level and you're probably going to make a right shoulder in some way. The daily's curling up, so you're probably going to see a reaction up. We'll see. But yeah, this right shoulder could form, right? But that's how I'd say people are most likely looking into it right now. They're just like, oh man, yeah, that it came down a little bit, but we should be coming way down by now. And that could give potential for people being like, we need to fight inflation more if it's only coming down that fast. See what you guys are chatting about. If you're an option time, that's right, to Mad Dog. If time benefits you, then you love something sitting flat. But time does not benefit you if you're taking a call above this level. Time does not help you if you're taking a put below this level. Even that Baba is holding up so well, do you think another leg up soon? Baba has seen that positivity. Let's see. Well, you got to watch that 30-minute rejection off of the 5-day. Remember this, right? Once you lose 5-day, people can double down on those options, like another play here. So if this crosses down, it can go down and fill this gap. It can make a new low. It can come down to these areas. Just be cautious with it. But as of right now, the 2-hour... I mean, you made the divergences. You've just overall been going sideways. I think that's pretty nice. Did this sweep the high? It didn't sweep the... It did, just barely. I need to look at something real quick, because why is my mind thinking Wyckoff? Let's see. Okay, not a big enough, probably not a big enough push here to be Wyckoff. Anyway, so for this, you're getting rejection on the 2-hour. If that 2-hour curls up, I mean, mainly it's like, hey, is this pulling back on the daily and just going sideways, right? Mainly it's just, hey, is this pulling back? Does the daily curl back up? I think you could have more time in it. I really still like the level of 120, like really at this gap, probably a little lower than 120. I really like that level. So as the 2-hour is rejecting and the 30-minute is crossing down, probably just want to make one little trend line here and just go like that and say, hey, if we break that retest, we could potentially, you know, go down to lower levels, maybe even down to 120, right? So if we cut this low, I'd be really watching 120. And mainly we're just looking for, hey, does the daily chart curl up at any time, break through this? Right, this is more of a breakout trade. I would just be very sketched out if we did this and then you see that confirm back down. That would be something I'd be very alert of. Oh my goodness. So does it look all right? It's holding up really well. It's just pretty sporadic. You did have a sweep of the low, so this would be interesting to end up in the upward direction. I'd at least be looking for a 2-hour confirmation because you do have potential divergence, I guess. Right, it's not necessarily equal. So what you'd want to see here is that 2-hour confirms up. That might wipe this out. You curl up, maybe get a retest and keep heading to the upside. That would be how it holds up better. But if you just get a flash move out of this, right, you get like a flash move like this, maybe even bigger, the daily curls up and the daily rolls down, I'd be very cautious with Baba. But yeah, it's moving sideways. So I think you're right to pay attention to breaks up and breaks down. Breaks down, I think 120. Breaks up, probably 150. And that's probably a small estimate. It's probably more towards 160. Oh, yes, build. Oh my gosh, build in this area, build in this area, drop down, bearish bets placed, turn back up. Oh my goodness. That would be fantastic. PPI is expected to come down. PPI expected to come down. Core PPI forecasted to come down. And initial jobless claims, expected to tick up a little bit. Kohl's. What do you think of Kohl's? I think they had one of the best sales ever, and I got my buddy a Christmas or a birthday present. I got him he's like a 2XL guy. He's a big football coach, and I got him a white Adidas sweatshirt for $7. So very happy with Kohl's right now. Shitty price action. I kind of agree, but it's a lot of fun to just sit and wait for these things to confirm. Let's see here. What was it? GME Coles. Let's go look at Coles. I'm down. Coles. Oh wait, isn't it KHOLS? Yeah, KSS. Okay. Oh wait, what market is this? Okay, making sure I had the right one. Okay, so for this one, obviously bad, right? That's really bad. This is really, 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 really bad. This is another one that's just probably like a, hey, if you know about the company, you probably got to do a lot of fundamentals here because this is just a complete collapse. That's why I don't look at stocks like this. It tried its best with the divergence here, but it wasn't able to do it. Confirm back down, and then we've just been negative ever since. You potentially had weekly divergence here, and it failed. So, not happy with that one. That is not one that I would sit and pay a bunch of attention to and try to analyze for hours and hours and hours. I would just be like, hey, yeah, it's cheap. If it's really cheap, let me look at the fundamentals real quick. Okay, do I want to invest? Well, why is MSTR dying? Because Bitcoin's going down. That's it. You know, anytime anyone asks, like, why is MSTR going down, I always just look at Bitcoin, and if that's down, I go, that's why. Yeah, sorry to say it, A, but that's how you have to look at that one. And you just have to look at it from a standpoint of, like, maybe is there insider buying? Is there, you know, some kind of good fundamental reason? I can even check if there's insider buying for Coles right now. What's the ticker? KSS? In 2025, you had the chief tech digital officer on the 6th of January, and all you have there is he sold 53,000. So you don't really have, a bunch of data, and you don't see a bunch of people buying this thing. So you'd need to see the fundamentals in their, you know, earnings and things like that potentially. Even I'll say that, right? If you have nothing to go off of and you have a stock that's dramatically down, you gotta find some reasons, or you don't have to find the reasons, right? You don't have to find reasons to take a stock, right? It could just be a bad play, right? You never know with those types. That's why it's like we talked about that 60-cent one, and I'm like, yeah, but if I just buy $1,000 worth and it holds 60 cents, then I never lose my $1,000. If it goes down to 30 cents, oh, I lost $500. Oh, darn. But if it would see that spike in the next 5 years, 10 years to $30 at some point, that would turn into 50 grand, right? So some people buy and hold those bad boys. Oh, let me move this out of the way a little bit here so I can see who's chatting with me. Gotta see who's in the chat here. Moon cycles, they coincidence with the market. There's an eclipse on Friday. I actually don't, Dubs. If you want to tell us more, I'm down to listen. I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. I think it's fun. I don't read into it too much, to be totally honest, Dubs, but I would love to hear your research, right? This is where we just put out our ideas. This is just an avenue. This is a tool to put out our ideas and discuss them. So if you have something that you think is worth discussing based on moon cycles, perfectly fine. It sounds interesting. I don't know if it can help our trades really, but we'll see. Cole's earnings are terrible, and they drastically cut their dividend. Cutting a dividend is not good news. I think didn't we look at Neo for a second there? I think it was just there might be some more time with this, right? Oh, no. Neo was the one that went up. Neo was the one that went up, so. Oh, Neo was the one that the 30-minute could go retest the 5 down at gap support, and then maybe we turn back up. If it fails, you got to watch if this 2 hours crossing. That can mean you're throwing up to potentially go down to 450, maybe 446 to fill the gap. That's right for Neo. JP Morgan actually flipped negative. What a douche. How's Tesla doing? Little sell-off here for Tesla. 30-minute, once again, pay attention to these 30 minutes. We need to pay attention to 30-minute failures. One little fake out, and we could be seeing something big, right? They need everyone bear. I still think we need to see this moment for the CPC and the PCC to just be terrible. But transports are breaking down. That's usually a very bad sign. Oh god, transports. Oh god, if they're breaking down, that's usually not a good thing. Oh my gosh, they are. Oof. Oh my gosh, they are not liking life, are they? Holy sh... That is so bad. Gold's potentially, GLD potentially just going to about 275, and I think futures might go to that as well. XLF collapsing, and that's kind of interesting. So XLF, you might say collapsing, right? But is this collapsing, or has it already collapsed? Right? Let's really get our terms here. Words matter, right? Is this collapsing? Right? If I'm thinking this is a collapsing, this bar right here makes me use the word collapsing right now. Or has it already kind of collapsed and we're just continuing the collapse, you know? It still is collapsing, but has it already collapsed before that? Because this is where you go, oh man, this is the collapse, right? Retest that break, that low, retest, fail again. How big of a percentage down are we? Pretty damn big, right? 10%. Okay, this thing has seen that correction. But what do we see in the charts? Well, we don't see 2-hour divergence. So that means we could have more time. Remember JP Morgan with that MACD? More time. Could be there. 30-minute though, did we have reversal signals here? No, not the best ones, right? Not on the MACD and RSI at the same time. This is why I like to take them when they're at the same time. Because I'm pretty sure this point violated it. Yep, you violated both with this point right here, which means we are very likely to see the 30-minute go down for a moment, maybe curl back up to at least get that divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. If that curls down here though, you are at some serious risk of losing a key level. If you lose that, you can see a big dump. So we're really waiting for that turnaround, waiting for the confirmation of signals. But 30-minute divergence could be necessary. And like we said towards the end of the video, this is literally the environment you're in. This is what could happen here. Let me show you. Ready? 30-minute could curl down, make a divergence, right? Then the 30-minute could get that strong move up. Then you could make a divergence here. Then with that divergence, you could curl down the 2-hour. Then the 2-hour could turn up with a divergence later. And you could see this down here on your MACD. That all can happen in the next couple of weeks. That's how bear markets are. That's how crazy bear markets are. That's how quick you have to be in trading like water. And this is why for the past year, we've been paying attention to those tops, waiting for moments like this and understanding in moments like this. This is really where your skills get tested when trading like water, when managing risk. This is the big test, is when volatility is this high. But all of that could happen first before we actually get the daily chart to curl up, right? And you see this, right? We've seen this in the past. Look over here. Let's look over here. All right, so 30-minute makes a higher low, sees that upward move, goes sideways a little more, 2-hour drops down, makes the 2-hour divergence. Look at all that. So you could see all of that right here. We could literally start doing these things, drop down on the 2-hour, then drop up. Maybe that. Now, it's not always going to be the exact same, but if we're paying attention to things correctly and understand, hey, the 2-hour chart is probably where our best trade setup will be, well, then we can look for little hints from the 30-minute. Yeah, Bitcoin's been struggle bussing, man. And this is just that 5-day, and you have divergences again. Now, I don't like 30 minutes here, but this suggests that the 2-hour can cross. That's a bad sign. Because you actually had 2-hour divergence on the RSI, not the MACD. If you make them at the same time, that would be great. if you could do it quickly, but I would just be very cautious with this drop. You can easily go to 69.5K soon if you get another drop. So this can get really bad. Hopefully it holds up better, right? Hopefully these things hold up better and that buyer steps in. But unless a buyer steps in and shows me that confirmation, momentum shows me it, no gracias, no gracias. Yeah, we're still right in the middle, guy. We've barely moved. Considering the moves we've had for the past few days, guys, we're chilling. Now you're turning down here. This is exactly it. You're losing that 558. Oh my goodness. 558 happens to be at pretty much a weekly expected move, and you're losing it. CPI came out less inflationary. That's how you would read into it, edits. And then what you want to do is watch the reaction. So right now you're getting a negative reaction for whatever reason, right? But overall, inflation did show across the board coming slightly down for the CPI. Everyone's talking about the 2.8 year over year. But the Fed is paying attention to the CPI. Big money's paying attention to CPI. Core inflation. So chop this, go there, chop this, go there. Okay, pretty simple. Well, you're seeing the SPY at a time with extreme volatility. This happens a couple times a year. Well, it could, and that's where the 2 hour might pop up. So, Dave, you're pointing out something interesting, and that's the fact that, hey, we could go until the Fed announces something. Well, that could mean we get that 2 hour move to go up, we get that 2 hour move to go down, and then look at this, next week, maybe we start to turn back up. Or what is that? I guess not next week. 2 weeks from now. But we'll see. We'll see how it lines up. But that's to get it on the MACD and R side at the same time. SPY blew its higher, yeah, kind of. But like you'll see moments like this, you know, a few times, right? A few times, a few times, right? A few times. 6%, so 9% was more what this is. Wonder what these drops were. 10% right there. 8, 9% right there. Maybe a little more. I think I missed the wick there. But yeah, you'll see it a few times. But you still want to be aware. You're breaking the 200, right? So this is why lower high is something we really want to be aware of, right? If you take back the 200, people are going to be like, oh my God, we're doing it. And we're so close to making a new all-time high. Boom. You still want to be watching. The signals are a lot different than those previous times, so lower high is very likely. Just the VIX bouncing on 15-minute way below the 0. Well, VIX was the 30-minute. VIX hasn't even reacted here. That's crazy to me. I really thought a lower high would come with this, so SPY hasn't seen that drop yet, though, so I guess it makes sense. But this looks like we're setting up, as of right now, with the price action we have right now, 13 minutes for the close, but right now you would say, is this likely to curl over at least a 15-minute into negative territory? Yeah, if that 15-minute curls down, how likely is it? Could it go test this low? Looks very likely to. So if that 15-minute crosses down, maybe I don't want to be in, and then if it just whips back up, I can say, oh, okay, it was a fake out, right? I just want to be careful with my money in these situations, but understand also, you know, what I like to do is I like to, in these type of environments, I know volatility, I'm going to see bigger swings. At times, I will start to build positions for a month, for like a month out. Now is one of those times where, you know, over the last couple of days is potential to start building that position, I think. But I'm not going to use a crazy amount of money that I would hate to lose a bunch of, right? I'm not saying 10, 20, I'm looking at 3 to 1,000. Yeah, and we just filled. Yeah, did we? Did we fill gap here? Not on the SPY. Did we do it on SPX at least? Yeah, we filled it on SPX. So now we'll see if it can turn back around. This hasn't crossed down yet. "30-minute ones are, They take a lot of management sometimes. That's why you'll notice I like 2-hour ones a lot. Okay. Okay, we already have the SPY over here, so let's do this. VIX. Oh, this is not a daily chart. God dang it, I'm bouncing around real weird here, my bad. Actually, let's watch that 15. I kind of like that 15 for the last bit of time here we have. Gotta hop off when baby girl wakes up. 15-minute, showing that single divergence on the MACD, not on the RSI. So that is still leaning me towards some kind of 30-minute move up that then fails. So I actually think that the that volatility might fail an upward move around that 27.88, which means the SPY might go make a lower low, but volatility will make a, a lower high. All right, so volatility looks like this right now, while the SPY looks like this. And I think the SPY could do that while volatility does this. And you're going to see that same direction. And that will be something to pay attention to. We'll see. Greenland center right party pulls off upset, wants more business, and Trump, independence from Denmark. Hey, interesting. I don't know, Dave. I think I'm kind of thinking about what you're saying, Dave, about the FOMC, and I'm kind of like, back in bear market times, a lot of FOMC were pivotal points. So yeah, I'm going to think about 2-hour divergences popping up around that time, unless we see some kind of sporadic move. When is that, actually? Let's go look at that. I'm deleting Mara and we'll never touch it again. That is a stock that potentially big money could be putting some risk out there to manipulate a little bit, but they have more info than you. Mara's a difficult one sometimes. It's either it sees the big run or it very much so fails the big run with good signals, which is very weird because it used to just track Bitcoin. It used to just kind of track Bitcoin. Now it doesn't. So something's weird there. Because I used to trade Mara. I kind of stopped trading Mara over the past year. It's been really weird for the past, I would say, year. JP Morgan getting a wick towards the lows. Interesting. Riot's kind of the same. Yeah, and so these ones might be more investor friendly rather than anything. Still, look at this 30-minute divergence that could pop up for Riot, though. Right, 2-hour divergence is there and confirmed, so you could get that quick little flash down kind of move. I would say if you sweep this low and see those buyers step in, you see this confirm again, and you see this, I actually think Riot could look at a pretty decent move coming. That would be very cool. Good, yeah. Good news with tariff situation would help, but wouldn't count on that. Well, it doesn't help that everyone's trying to flip everything in a negative light. The tariffs in general, I mean, if they pull off tariffs to take away income tax, do you know how good that is for the people? So I would be encouraging them to try to figure this out. Why would I be unsupportive of this? Really, it's like we've already seen Toyota say we're going to make production facilities in the U.S. to evade the tariffs. It's like, okay, so does that mean Toyotas get more expensive or cheaper? We'll see, but potentially if they're made here, They could be cheaper. Isn't that crazy? But the media is going to talk bad. Anything that Trump does is going to be bad. That dude could save 100 kittens from a burning building, and they would talk about how he doesn't care about climate change or something. Like, that's just the truth of it. It's unfortunate. We're in that time. You know, everyone's critical of every president, but if they don't like them, which I think is the stupidest thing in the world. The way that I convinced my wife was, I said, would you rather have a boss that you really like who makes you no money and you can't pay your rent? Or would you rather have a boss that's a kind of an asshole, but you make the best amount of money? Or he does the best things to improve your work life? It's like, I'd probably rather deal with the asshole. Honda's moving from Canada to the US. What does this mean? This means production will pick up here. I mean, this means that America will potentially attempt to keep up with China manufacturing, which we're way off from. You're way off from that. That's going to take a lot of time. Microsoft breaking down. Microsoft, you know, look at these breakdowns still as opportunities that could just see flash moves down and flash moves up. And really, Microsoft not breaking down, man. I mean, the way you know it's breaking down is if you start to cut this low, yeah, you're going to make that new low most likely. But if you really look over at Microsoft and you're just like, okay, it's breaking down a little bit. All right, could it go lower, right? According to the information that I have, would it make sense for Microsoft to go lower? And the answer to this is yes. It makes total sense for Microsoft to go about 4 points lower than this low. So I should be open to this if something doesn't happen. I should be very open to this at all times. But if the 2 hour curls up first, that would be confirming a bigger time frame divergence, and I like that more. It would invite maybe a pullback for that 30-minute, but that's what gets us back into this area where the buyers like to really step in. Got to take this back. Same thing goes for Google. Look at Google. Like this look right here is literally like someone's holding up a sign saying fire sale before a big upward move. That's what this looks like right now. Now, it could be more complex, but the only reason, Dave, that I'm not leaning towards that FOMC is because of the looks from these individual stocks like Google. I mean, look at this 2 hour divergence. It looks so similar to Nvidia's over here in a lot of things, right? Microsoft and Google look a lot like this, and boom to the upside. So let's see if we get that boom to the upside. Nvidia's holding nicely. $15 might be crossing in a moment here, so we really want to be watching this. Here, what's the closing price? 556.09. The wick. Low 555.97 on the low. So this actually did fill that for now. The next 15-minute bar is going to be very fucking important. Sorry to curse, my bad, but just being honest. Oh, sorry, Justin, what you looking at? AMD as well, right? Nvidia, AMD, we looked at this in the video last night. Once again, that 30-minute actually extending into positive territory. So you could go fill that gap and still turn back to the upside. Oh, sorry, this is a 15-minute. 30-minute still by the center line. So you got to watch out for rejection here. But the 2 hour, I mean, the 2 hour is confirming this above the 5 in 32 minutes. And that doesn't mean you're, you know, completely safe from the 30-minute dropping for a moment, maybe to fill that gap, and also maybe falling through the floor. So I might need to manage risk if it happens, but the 2 hour is suggesting that this could be confirmation in about 32 minutes. I know the bar is red, but just don't sleep on the fact that this is a gap up. This is a 2% positive move. Even if the bar looks like this, we have to be aware of that 30-minute crossing. That's just management of trade kind of 101. Right, but we see the dramatic divergence for AMD. So this is a very interesting look to have if we're going to crash. It's just a very interesting look for the selling to slow. So the only thing we're aware of is if a 30-minute crosses and then we get a reason for the selling to pick up again, this momentum could distribute again to the downside. That's why we have to treat these 30-minute curl downs seriously, right? This 30-minute is by the center line. If it curls down, bad things can happen. Hopefully it holds up better, right? And if I was trading this, right, I'm still potentially looking at this and going, okay, we had it on the RSI, but we didn't have it on the MACD at the same time, right? I like mine to be at the same time. So if that 2 hour confirms and I take it and the 30-minute crosses, I'll be out, right? I won't be in this. I'll watch for that gap, see if it can turn back up, then I'll be in it. I'll watch for that to go make a divergence and turn back up, and these times right here is when I'm in it. Not here, not here, not here, right? Not here. I'm going to be in it once it makes sense. Again, right now it kind of makes sense right now on the 2 hour. But if something goes, wrong, we have to be aware of it. Econ days are long past. Well, we'd have to see, and to compare something to 1915 to now, trade has gotten a lot different since 1915. And also, you're talking about a time, World War I, yeah, America was kind of a powerhouse, but after those world wars, America became a powerhouse. I know we went through Great Depression, but we came out of that Great Depression as a powerhouse, right? So at this moment, you have to see, are we the top dog? Okay, awesome. I think we are. So it might have a different assessment on the economics and how people would react to us putting those tariffs. How big of a footprint do we have in the world is something we'd have to look at. But once again, Samson, I'm in that boat with you, right? Those are things that I'm not researching daily. So it'd be very difficult for me to see like the probabilities of tariffs working out for the benefit of the American people. But I would say from a critical thinking standpoint, that tariffs could end up benefiting the people. And right now, media is telling you it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. They also told you Kamala's going to win, Kamala's going to win, Kamala's going to win. They also told you transitory, transitory, transitory. They also told you you're not in a recession, you're not in a recession, even if the GDP dropped by 2 readings of negative GDP. So the financial, not necessarily financial media, but the mainstream media is just telling you it's bad. And for some reason, my mind just goes, that means it's good. Because they've just been opposite on everything for, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 years now. So it's difficult. It's kind of a pull. It's more of the psychological side of that. Like, do they really know what they're talking about kind of thing? I'm guessing right now that if Samson researched it thoroughly for a month, he'd be able to figure it out, and he would have a very different assessment from what we're getting from actual media. I see what you say, wait until 12 p.m. for a reversal sign. So looking for that 12 p.m., maybe looking for other markets to close. What's going on with Apple? Apple, we noticed that we did not mention Apple. Apple is not the best look. Now, the 30-minute does have divergence here, right? We noticed that. We can look at our weekly expected moves and see, hey, Apple's outside of a weekly expected move. We can look at our monthly expected moves. We can see, hey, Apple's outside of a monthly expected move. So all the percentages are saying you're seeing something crazy, and it's very likely to do this, or at least end in these areas by the end of March. Right? So that means you could have a lot of time down here. You could have a lot of time, and then you end up at the end of March up in those areas. But this is suggesting for the week that you're on a Wednesday, you're way outside of it. I think you're 2 standard deviation pretty much at this point. I probably should start to calculate those. But if you get this 30-minute to just return back around, you would have triple divergence on your RSI and actually at least a rejection divergence on your MACD. You at least want to see rejection, right? So, yeah, this can cause still a 2-hour move to go up. What's the 2-hour look like? It looks like garbage. So I would be very hypocritical to say like, oh yeah, this is a great base for the 2-hour. No, the 2-hour is going to need to see something like this or something like this, right? Some kind of higher low to really convince me that this is a bottom. And that's going to dictate a lot by the positioning of the MACD if we even get the upward move, right? Right now, the 30-minute is looking like it's turning down. Okay, 15-minute is crossing for the SPY. We'll see this. Oh, it crossed last bar, actually. Okay, so we crossed last bar. This means if we chop this low, we have a good chance to flush all the way down to 540. Or was it 540, 545? Let me go look again. 545. 545 and 540 are your biggest put walls. So these levels down here. So you got 545 and you've got 540, which is a little bit lower down here. And those are the two levels that I'm paying attention to if we see dramatic downside. Microsoft's still holding it pretty well, not curling down on a 30 yet. But this is a 15. Just remember that this is a 15. And the 15 was able to slightly go positive. So whenever it just slightly goes positive, just let your mind be open to, hey, this could just curl back up. Let your mind be open to, hey, this could double bottom. That's all I would say, because right now you almost have like a double top. Hey, that measured move comes in. Okay, we see a drop. Oh, wait, maybe we sweep the low and we make that divergence. So we're just watching the 15 anytime that curls up. If it keeps going down to curl down the 30-minute, then we'd be looking at that and probably paying attention to at least 545. But this is just everything we talked about in the video last night is just the 30-minute here right now, right? This is the risk going into yesterday with great reversal signals. Okay, this is the risk for today. Is we see that 30-minute curl down, this is the first thing we're watching. This should not be taking us off guard at all, and if it is, well, you need to turn those notifications on. Make sure you're watching the YouTube videos at night, because we discussed this up towards the 5-day moving average. Now, we also discussed that getting potentially upside first. Now, we only got a little bit of upside first, and then that immediately came back down. Let's see. I'm going to click over here and just see if anything's crossing down real quick. Go through a bunch of these. IWM, not crossed down yet, but given those hints. DIA is crossed down. We'll watch for that divergence point. TLT trying to reverse back to the upside. Apple making the slight 30-minute divergence, maybe a rejection divergence, but maybe not, right? Looks kind of ugly. Tesla, great move for Tesla, actually. This is a great move for Tesla. Where we got to is very, very important. This is that first resistance that comes in, right? We see the wick, we go across, we go, oh, look at that. And then we go, okay, if this is gonna hold up better, we could even see the 30-minute cross. If it can cross back up here, I'm happy. If it can cross back up down here, I'm happy. But I'm not happy during the downfall, right? I'm not saying this is bullish during the downfall. I'm saying if we do something like this and then a buyer steps in, that momentum picks up, that's what I'd be looking for. If we're going to make that divergence to really fake people out, I need that buyer to step in to really confirm this momentum back to the upside and really show us like, hey, we're going to see a shift here. So nice move from Tesla, though. Back over to SPY, I'm just clicking through a bunch of these since I'm heading to the end here. Oh, Amazon. Amazon's another one we discussed for just a brief moment, saying we got to be watching if that 30-minute does cross, right? We very obviously see this. We see that we're getting to a great level. We see that we could hold up better to potentially curl up. So we'll see if this actually crosses down. So we want that 15-minute to cross back up, right? Because that 15 minutes is going to be crossed down. It's in positive territory, so you want that thing to cross back up right now. You want that gap fill and cross up. If you cross this 30-minute, it starts to add some probabilities to, ooh, we can cut that low, maybe go down towards 190, and then see that 30-minute divergence there again. But Amazon actually showed the divergence, so let's be aware that this is a pretty decent move. If the 15-minute can curl back up, still looking all right. Same thing I would say for something like NVIDIA. Look at the positivity on the 30-minute chart for NVIDIA with the 30-minute great divergences. It's fantastic. And you see that thing head to the upside. And now it's reacted to the great level. We've reacted right to it. That's great. We see that gap resistance come in. But do we see this curl down? Maybe even dramatically curl down that 30-minute, and then curl back up. Right, curl back up. That's going to be the big deal. Or just don't curl down, right? We already have 2 hour confirmed, so let's squeeze, right? But with that wick coming in, you got to be aware that this can vomit all the way back down to 108.50 and more if it wants to, but your MACD is suggesting to pay attention to, at least the positioning saying, pay attention to a higher low on the 30-minute. AMD, similar scenario, just a little bit weaker there, just a little bit weaker. You would have liked to potentially react all the way up to 101.70. I think that would have been great, or at least a reaction to, I would say this 101.7 or 174. I would say a reaction up to there would have been a little better, would have given you more room for that to pull back and be pretty safe. You're close to the center line, so for AMD, you do want to be a little more worried that this can make a new low. The positioning of the MACD is not as good. Let's look at Meta. Meta is another one that we can pay attention, right? A lot of these things are showing the same thing, which is you're seeing positive moves that aren't dramatically positive, so you're aware that this can happen, but you're also seeing that the positioning of the MACD could hold you up better. So maybe watching 15-minute charts initially would be good, and then watching if that never sees a buy come in, see if that 30-minute crosses, and then we'll see what happens with this bad boy. But if these things fail, I do not want to be in calls, right? Not with this environment we're in. And we're in the crazy levels, right? If we get rejections outside of monthly or weekly expected moves, we want to be very cautious with those because that's where you see crazy things. Microsoft, we've kind of already done that one. 30-minute crossover. Google, we kind of already did that one. Google holding up really, really well, though. For what it's going through, really, really like this from Google to hold in these areas. You're really just holding, completely saying, I'm trying to go to the upside. When will we see this 2 hour confirm, right? The 2 hour confirmation is what I'm really watching for here. If I'm ballsy from a positioning standpoint, I can be like, risk to reward is there. Maybe I could do a starter position now and then see if that 2 hour confirms and add some value there. But I want to be patient with it. For now, from AMC. For AMC, you want to pay attention to that you're going sideways for a long time. You're starting to coil up a little bit, right? We see the bigger moves turning into smaller moves, turning into smaller moves. Okay, so let's see what happens with this thing. Now, something to pay attention to, 30-minute crosses up. Okay, awesome. We'd like to see that. But right now, it looks like we're moving sideways for another 2 hour drop down. 2 hour drops down again. Watch out below because this thing could be bad, right? It could be very bad. If it's quick, that'd be a good thing, right? We want it to be quick. We don't really want this 2 hour to cross, if I'm being totally honest. Let's go look at GME because GME looks totally different on the 2 hour. You don't have really good divergence or anything. You can see the RSI. You really don't have good divergence or anything. So even the next 2 hour move could fail. The 30-minute could be making that divergence for the next 2 hour move, and that 2 hour move could fail. But ultimately, you want to react up to 25.50, 25.44. You want to get to these type of levels. You know, not that exact number, but these type of levels, right? Because then you can see that strength from the 30-minute going positive and then just curl down and curl back up, curl down, curl back up, maybe fool around in here for a second, just like we did over here. There's a lot going on. I haven't looked at DJT in a while. Let's look at that. Yeah, see, even DJT, 30-minute doesn't even have divergence yet. 2 hour has it though. Look at that. 2 hour has it for DJT. I don't know, man, but I'm seeing a lot of these 2 hour divergences even on these small ones, man. So I wonder if squeeze is on the table for next week. We'll have to see. Interesting. All right, let's go back to the SPY and let's look at this on a 15 because the 15 has crossed. And then we'll chill here for a second while I get through chat a little bit, and then I'll have to take off. What am I seeing with QQQ? Same thing as the SPY. The 15-minute able to cross down, but the 15-minute even more positive for the Qs, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, even more positive for the Qs. So this adds more credibility to this could hold up. All right, this could hold up, but you're just now confirming, so we have to see if this is able to turn back up. Has AMC bottomed? Not if that 2 hour crosses down. Won't trade that one. Apology say on that. I'm like, same. Same girl, same. Is that a head and shoulders to what? On what time frame are you looking for head and shoulders? And you're saying Head and Shoulders to head down to 467? If this is gonna head anywhere, it's probably going. I haven't looked at the levels for the Qs. Maybe we should look at that before we talk about it. QQQ. Yeah, 470. 470 is the main level to watch here for the Qs. 470 is like the real level to watch. The other level is 460, and that's way smaller for today. What about the end of the week? Holy huge puts at 490 for the Qs. Man, if they really want to hurt a lot of traders, you go sit this thing right on 490. You go sit there for the rest of the week. That would hurt some people. Oh yeah, okay, and also it's agreeing with me. Max Pain is 490. VIX? VIX is fine. Yeah, I'm expecting a 30-minute curl up here. This is why I think that 30-minute divergence, and we should pay attention to lower levels still. You still have that opportunity where volatility does this and then does this. Rejects somewhere towards this 28 level. I would just say 28 to keep it nice and easy. Okay, we can look at other things too. VIX 9-day, we can look at that on the 2 hour. See, there's 2 hour divergence, triple divergence all across this. It's far away from the center line, so we're aware it can get another curl up, but this is suggesting that the daily can curl down here. So just be aware of that. Something to be aware of. Mags looking all right, not looking horrible, given the divergence, not on the MACD at the same time. So if the mags looks a lot like the SPY, then you would, or the Qs, SPY and the Qs, right? Only having the divergence on here, you would say mags are something that's really controlling this market. But yeah, VIX could roll down right away. I think you're right to pay attention. I think you said VIX, you're looking at this 15-minute. Yes, if the 15-minute rolls down, that is what we would watch for. We still would look for that divergence as far as if that 30-minute will fully see like another big move, but this could fail right away. I'm sorry, what was that? Victor, Bob V just got kicked off of top trading. QBTS, why is it halted? Well, is it seeing a crazy move? Is it seeing a crazy move within 5 to 15 minutes? So more than 5%. I believe it's more than 5% in 15 minutes on some. It's more than 5% on a 5-minute as well. So yeah, this move was up 5%. Might have got halted for that reason. I have halts over here though. Let's see when they halted that thing. Where the frick are my halts, man? There it is. QBTS got halted at 10:35 Eastern. 9:35 here. So when did that happen? Huh. I think my time is off on this or something. Why does it say 9? Oh, it's halted right now. I got halted at 9. I was like, no, this isn't ticket. Okay, I'm being stupid. I was like, something's off here. I'm not looking at this right. So it got halted here. That's a little bit fishy, I think. What kind of halt was it? It was a T1 halt. Okay, T1 halt. News pending. Trading is halted pending the reason of significant or material news. The T2 halt will be a news released. So this is a T1 halt, meaning they are about to release potential news for QBTS. You're exactly right on the DAX. Let's see the DAX. There you go. I think it was daily scale for the most part. Daily divergence above you. This one looks like the DAX is about to go through some struggle town. It can catch a bounce from these areas. You can see this, but you might already be seeing that. This wick. You might already be seeing that, right? It doesn't have to be something big. You're pretty much like cup, handle, okay? 2 hour, if that 2 hour can turn up, you'd more so be like, okay, maybe more complex, right? We might get something big that fails. But if the 2 hour crosses up, it's still by that center line. So you just want to be aware if that 2 hour crosses up, you don't necessarily want to be short anymore. All right, I don't know if you want to be long necessarily, right? But at least for this decision making here, you could say, hey, that 2 hour move could still come. But we did have that 2 hour RSI divergence. So if this just rolls down on a 30-minute, you could just continue that negative trend over time here. But watch out for divergence here, right? If that 2 hour is gonna see a turn up, you might see this. But yeah, DAX has daily divergence, so it's at an area it can bounce from. Doesn't have to, but this is where bounces can happen. SPY starting to bounce? Well then, volatility, most likely, starting to curl down, right? We'll look at this on the 15-minute for SID. Let me go check in with the wifey and see if I can spend a little bit more time with you guys this morning, okay? Just a little bit more time. Let me go see real quick. I'll be right back. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah. I can stay here for another about 25 minutes. Woo! I'm pumped. Buy Bitcoin, says Anthony. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, everyone's so bullish. I don't get that. This is what I don't get about people's mentality. Okay? Here's what I don't get. Everyone was talking about buying Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is now cheaper. A pretty significant amount cheaper. What happened to everyone saying buy Bitcoin at 100,000? This is what makes no sense to me. People that say buy Bitcoin at 100,000 a million times. If you're saying buy at 100,000, then how do you have a different assessment when the price is cheaper? It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me whatsoever that people are like, do not buy Bitcoin when it has a divergence on the RSI, on the daily scale, and it's by the 200 and it's cheaper than a few weeks ago. It just doesn't, it blows my mind. And I'm not talking about that, Anthony. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the fact that it can flush. I'm talking about the people that say buy at 100K. Do you know what we were saying? We were saying, yeah, you could buy here, but there's daily divergence, there's weekly divergence, there's a lot of divergence up at 110, 100K, right? But I'm just saying the people who shout, buy this at 100, that's like saying, buy this Xbox, it's cheap right now. That's what they always say, it's cheap right now. It's $400, buy this Xbox, buy this Xbox. I say it's $400. And then 3 weeks later, that same person has that Xbox for, say, I don't know, maybe 20% less. If you got a 20% discount on an Xbox 3 weeks later before you bought it, maybe you didn't decide to buy it then and it's 20% cheaper. Would you think a little bit more about buying it? Or would you be like, oh, I'm staying away from that Xbox. For wife being cool, thanks, Top Synopsis. I'll let her know that you did that for her. Thank you so much for that. She's one of the best ones. She was a little freaked out yesterday, so which it happens. You know, you feel a little violated when someone breaks in to your car and tries to hotwire it. Like, that was crazy. We had like cords out and stuff. But thank you so much for that. And we will look at that AZO, okay? But I just want to talk about the mentality there for a second. AutoZone, haven't looked at this in a long time. AutoZone on the daily scale. One thing is true about this right now. You've seen 3 waves up, so you can get a nice wave down for this MACD. That being said, you are in a very positive trend. Okay, so even if this daily curls down and you end up testing something like 3.366, you could curl up for another move higher, maybe to create that double top. The reason for that is nothing going on here on the MACD and RSI. Right, nothing really going on here. Maybe, nah, it's still violated. Maybe you could say MACD divergence. That's a big maybe. So what we want to look for here is the 2-hour as well. Because the 2-hour has seen this. This is how crazy this market can be. All right, you want to see how crazy this market can be. 2-hour goes down to the center line, no reversal signals. Has the daily crossed? No. So that means we could see this, we could see this, we could see this, we could see this, we could see this. Because you can get that 2-hour divergence first, 2-hour then drops the daily then curls up again because it's in a positive trend, then you get the daily divergence and that crosses down. That's how crazy this thing could be, right? So trading like water is going to be very important here. But you're probably like, what levels do I need to pay attention to? Well, if the 2-hour is going to turn around, you really would like this 3,480. You'd really like this 3,480. No, I have a Hyundai. So we actually had we had to go get this car, right? We had to go get it, but it's a good car. It's a good car. It's just Hyundai. But my family has had a lot of problems with Hyundai. My sister's a Hyundai girl for some reason, and man, they've had problems. Can I ask you a question, Chris? Since you might know about it, how does that affect Genesis? Because Hyundai and Genesis are kind of, you know, crap car. I kind of agree. Trust me. May I ask why your wife has a finger in your job? I like to help out with the baby a lot, Lion. I'm a very, I try to be as active as possible and spend as much time with my daughter as possible, so I'm going to help out. And then we're supposed to go see Abuela. So, but not really a finger on my job, right? She knows that if I have something, all I have to do is be like, I can't go. I can't do this. And she knows right away. Get a Jeep Wrangler? Ew, I thought Jeeps had like the worst engine. Jeeps lose the most amount of value off the lot. I don't know why. I'm not a car guy, but I'm just saying. Shoot, you're right. They are the same company. I only heard Kia and Hyundai. Jeep lasts forever? Hey, let's look. Let's ask someone. Let's ask and I think Jeep has gotten better, maybe? I don't remember. I know Volkswagen was lying about a lot of their data for a while. I mean, we're about markets and stuff, so let's see. Okay, so it looks like they have made some improvements, and maybe the Wrangler itself is actually holding those improvements. It says, friendly to the wallet, and this was as of, oh, I can't see as of when, but oh, this is like a, hold on. Now, you gotta look where the data comes from. If it comes from a dealership, I'm good. I'm not gonna read off what they said. But it seems they're holding value well, which is very interesting to me. Maybe it's the other types, because I think Wranglers are cool. I don't like how loose the steering wheel is. I did drive a Jeep Wrangler. Okay, yes, the Wrangler only. Okay. That's cool, man. IYC, man. I'm glad I looked that up. That's awesome, because I had a very stipulation to that. Like, I had a big thing on that. Best engine ever. Well, Volkswagen had to make a bunch of changes because they were lying about their Their fuel emissions, they were lying. They were putting things in the car that would manipulate the fuel emissions to report it as better than it was. It would report better gas mileage than it actually got. And it was a big difference. It was saying like, oh, you get 32, but people were only getting 22. Yeah, Lion. And more so, I try to tell people all the time, like trading, I don't want to be staring at my computer the whole time. I mainly just want to do this to be helpful. So Lion, if you have something you want me to look at, I'm down, buddy. Tighter handling. Okay, because the handling on the Jeep, I think I was driving a 2020. Maybe it was a 2019. I think it was a 2019. I was driving a 2019. It was so loose on the handle. I would hit a bump and my steering wheel would turn. Like, it would, like, shift. I was like, damn. Also, VW makes it with steel. What does T1 halt for QBTS? That means potential news release. So next level, if you see a T1, I just looked it up because obviously, you know, I'm going to look it up to clarify before talking about it. But yeah, T1 apparently means you're going to get some kind of news, pending news release. And then if it gets a T2 halt, that means it has gotten the news release and getting a halt because of the news release. So that's why I was looking at the percentages because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. If this is a, what is it, a LULD, LULD? LUDP, sorry, LUDP. If this is an LUDP, then that would mean it's just a sporadic move within 5 to 15 minutes, or I think it's 5 minutes. And that wasn't happening, so I quickly went and looked, and I just go, oh, it's a T1. So that means there's some kind of news coming out. Inflation data is good. I think it is good. I think it's finally people get a cookie. I just don't think it was a good enough cookie. It still can head upward. I think this, though. Here's the thing. So let's say this. Let's put it this way. What makes for a fun time camping? Well, if I just if I was like, oh man, we didn't bring this, we didn't bring any food, we're all negative, we're this, and then I find a pack of marshmallows, just little ones, I would go, oh, sick, at least we have some marshmallows. I'm still bummed out, they're just marshmallows. Then I look in another pack and I find graham crackers. I go, oh, this is starting to get good. This is pretty great. And then my friend goes, oh, I forgot, I have a bunch of chocolate bars in the back of my car, and then we have a full setup for s'mores. Isn't that insane? So what I'm getting at here is, what if CPI is just the marshmallow? What if PPI tomorrow is the graham cracker? And then what if consumer sentiment on Friday is the chocolate on top? Do you see how little bits of good news could make you forget about the negativity? That's all I'm getting at. I'm just throwing it out there. It could happen. You know, with data, a lot of the time with data, we see, you know, rip around. So you get like one good, one bad, then two good, and people forget about the bad. And then a soft Fed next week. Ooh, Avalon. You can't be talking like that. You can't be talking like that. That's too dirty for this channel. Stop it. So let's see if we can make some marshmallows this week. Like, I guess that's what we're doing now. I make the weirdest analogies, I guess, but at least you know they're from the top because they're the stupidest and weirdest analogies, but they always end up making a little bit of sense. Yo, where the heck is Lion? And where the heck? Oh, I'm just here for the words buy and sell, Lion. I was looking for you to give me a ticker. I just read that. Well, you might hear me saying the words buy and sell, but just know, guys, it's your money. Make sure you're respecting your money and not trying to rely on some random... At the end of the day, I hope that we are friends on this channel. I hope we're colleagues, and I hope that we both love looking at this stuff. But don't even rely... I wouldn't even rely on my best friend. I wouldn't rely on my dad. I wouldn't rely on my grandpa. I love my mom a lot. I wouldn't rely on her. I love my wife, but if she told me to buy a stock because she thinks it's going to be good, I'm probably not buying it. Okay? So we're talking about decision-making. Because you have decisions to make, it is your money. They are your decisions, right? So if we're talking about potential buys and sells, Make sure that you're at a place where you understand your plan for your trade. What your trade has to do with Tiger Crown's trade, with IYC Man's trade, with Samson's trade, with Sid's trade. You guys can make all completely different decisions, right? That's it. Oh, I wish I could just talk and not trade, because trading gets the emotions going. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Sid just comes in here every day and he just types. He just wants to. He's trolling. Get to 100K subs and you're set. Hey, that's true. Once well, you know, I'm already at the potential to just start just investing in drop options altogether. I think I got what did I say about I think when I started the channel, I said I potentially could do it in the next 3 to 5 years. But we've had some good stuff happen lately, so this is really boosting mine. Right, that Meta trade, the JP Morgan trade initially, oh my goodness, that was good. Respect chat, love it. Yeah, we just hold people to, we more so are talking about the actions politicians are doing, not necessarily. We just want to find out if it's good or bad for us, right? And then we want to see reactions in the market, right? Politically, though, you just got to do what's best for your family, in my standpoint, I think. And you're pretty well off if you just learn to do that. I think your mental towards politics gets better if you just realize, hey, I got to make decisions for my family, and that's it. There's one thing I have not explored. Sid, are you doing really, really well right now? Brain fart question. If delta is 50 cents and the stock moves $1, it moves 50 cents. That should assume correct. 250 between each strike. Just trying to see what option number would be if moved to next strike. That would probably be the best way to estimate it, Lurk and Luke. Yeah, that would potentially be to estimate it, but you have to also think if that's what's expected, right? If it's in the data there, then that's what's expected. So if we're at a time where we see something unexpected, you can see much higher premiums start to increase that 50 cent. You learn an option, that's one big thing. Tough market. I go up 20K and sometimes lose 10K in a month. Hey, but if you're up overall and what you're doing is overall successful and you notice your risk is going well, even in your losses, if you're seeing that trend upwards, a very good thing to do is if you have a good chunk of money, it sounds like Sid's got a good chunk of money, then, you know, making option plays can make it a lot faster to lose that 10K. So if you're finding success and you're fine with being patient and you're really fine with being like the slow way is the fast way for me, the slowest way would be never to touch options and just practice good behavior. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And you can make plenty of money just doing SPY in the Qs and doing SQQQ and SPXS, you know? It's kind of like a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but maybe I can make it a little better. And that's about it. That's all we're doing. They can be funky. I think you're at a time too where options might be weird because we haven't seen the CPC see that dramatic upside. So I don't even think we've seen the, I mean, I don't think we've seen the highest prices that put options could go, but according to put volume, we should be paying, and according to the signals, we should be paying attention to reversal. So hey, I just follow what I see on the chart. Hey, that's awesome though. That's so cool. After being laid off after 15 years, I decided to go full swing day trader. We're kind of similar, weirdly enough, Sid. It's just I was younger when it happened. I'm not a Sony guy, you know. Bungie, Sony and Bungie? Being laid off 15 years, I decided to go full swing day trade. What'd you do over there, Sid? I gotta know. What'd you do? Yeah, Lurk and Luke, I would treat that more like a priced in value, but note that you can see value increase in the environment that we're in, especially to the call side. If we see that upward move, people could shift out of puts and go into calls, and that could shift the premium up to where you could see an increase of more than 0.50 with every dollar. 558 for the SPY. Uh-oh, is that gonna reject? Have we curled down the 30-minute? Are we curling back up the 15-minute? Has volatility, oh wait, we have AZO up. AZO, a lot could happen here, but I really like this touchdown here, would be nice. That's breakout area, retest area, looks pretty nice. Volatility, did you curl back down yet? Nope. So we still got some time here. I got about 10 minutes left, guys. I tried day trading 1 minute, 5 minute time frames, 95% loss rate, but 10-minute, my entries are golden. Hey, that's great, Caleb, and we're not saying you can't do it. It's just it's a constant battle with day trading. I just extend it out a little bit. I hope it goes well for you, Caleb. It sounds like it is. But man, you want to get stressed out, sit in front of your computer all day and look at a 1 minute chart and try to take 2 trades. You're gonna stress. Does the SPY come back to 555? With this type of price action, we'll see. If this 15-minute curls up, I think we're going to that daily expected move. Keys in the SPY are in lockstep with the 10-year yield. 10-year starting to see that bouncing up too. Good luck. Don't trade too much. Yeah. You guys don't know. Like, I had that JP Morgan one, and that one went wrong, and I was like, damn. And I've been itching ever since to take the better play, and I'm having to be patient. So, you know, these things happen to me too. All right? The emotions happen to me too. It's just, if I see this 15-minute curl up, I can make a decision. I can tell you some decisions have already been made, okay? I can tell you right now that some decisions have already been made, and we're looking for potential. Why I'm talking about Amazon, Nvidia, and Meta and stuff like that a lot is because some decisions over here have been made, and that's why we put them out in the video last night on Patreon, because Amazon, if that curls down, I might have to manage a trade. But I like the 2 hour, so, you know, the 2 hour still looks good. I'm just paying attention if I have to manage anything. All right, maybe the timing's off, but maybe there's a big drop, so I just want to be careful with it. It's not bad, though. What is this, Goat? Watch this. What was that? Oh, wait, we have another halt. I forgot I have halts up. Springview Holdings, ticker SPHL, was just halted at 11:38 Eastern Time, LUDP, meaning most likely it is seeing a little bit crazy price action right now. I think that was my problem, Caleb. When I was day trading, I'd have one go right in the morning, one go wrong in the afternoon, and I'd be like, well, I broke even again. Great. Yeah, I just didn't see the productivity, and I didn't see my growth as a trader with those short time frames, and then I started to just research into my own things and research further and further, find weekly, create monthly and weekly expected moves, and yeah, I think I just had to come to the realization. I was like, hey, this might not be for me. Not for any other reason besides it might not be for me, right? I started with Destiny 1, a Lego builder, I build, model texture. Oh, sick. All the modular pieces, like walls, floors. Dude, this is sick, Sid. Treasure chests and everything else that the world artists build the environment with. That's sick, Sid. Man, I told my brother he should have got into video game creation. In college, he made like a full Mario game for fun. And I was like, dude, if I were you, I'd be making games and putting it on Steam for $5 and seeing if people buy it. Like, that's what I'd be doing. 1 week swing trades are cool too. Yeah, and I really like those too. Usually it's like, it's crazy, but especially in volatile times, a bull market I can hold for 1 to 2 weeks usually with the options I like to take. But, you know, when things are rip around and sketchy to the upside, like sketchy, like we could have experienced a major top at any point in 2024, and now 2025 looks even riskier. It's just like, man, Oh, I'm only holding those things for like 2 days lately. Thanks, but I'm happy to be done with it. 30 years of film and games. Hey, yeah, sometimes you just need that change, and I think this is a cool change. I'm glad you changed because you're here, Sid. I'm glad we got to meet each other. I think you're an awesome dude. I think you say some very interesting stuff, and it's cool you have that background. 52. Oh yeah, put it in that perspective too. 52 competing with, I'm sure they have a lot of excitement towards it while you've already experienced that excitement, and you might start be tapering back on that. SPY to 561. SPY could go all the way to 570 if it could just break through cleanly 560. Yeah, I hear you. I heard a lot of places, not necessarily where my brother has worked. He worked for big companies as an engineer, but I heard a lot of engineering jobs right now are trying to do like $15 an hour. And I was just like, yo, I'd be pissed. I would throw those in the trash immediately. I was like, that's crazy. $15 an hour for a UI engineer? Like, you gotta be kidding me. You like Bollinger Bands? Yeah, we haven't had those up too much lately, but we should put up Bollinger Bands. Let's look at those. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right, a lot of people like the take profit at times where you see moves outside of Bollinger Bands, but the Bollinger Bands are great. Bollinger Bands are awesome because one thing is we could go retest that 20. So the likely area to actually see the first resistance is right here, right? We kind of talked about this 585, I believe, on the shorter time frames, and now we know that that 20 is sitting at like 582. So the cool part is you look up to here and you go, oh, okay, 585. Where is that 20? Well, that 20 is pretty much this like 30-minute 200 or a little below that. So your 20 on the daily is like here. And so if you reacted to that, you could see how we could use that as resistance. And that could be where that 2 hour fully fails again. But if you're able to react all the way up there, you see that lose it. Maybe we use this as support and you take it back. That would be fantastic. Get back above the 20, because now that we're seeing that extended move down for these Bollinger Bands, it is very likely to go see that reaction up to at least the 20 for a retest. This is going to be a big area to get through. And if you get through that, hey, you can head higher. And then you got to get through this and you can head higher. But man, this is going to be a tough one. Unless we just see this thing, you know, people get good news and they're really excited about it. Oh wait, we're on 15 minute coming down here. All right. Software engineering is high paying, 250 and up for at least 3 years of experience. And of course, you have to be great. Yeah, and I think my brother, he got made like a team leader of a group within like a year. And I was like, that's amazing. A lot of respect for my brother's work ethic. That dude is insane with his work ethic. Like, that's, I had to tell my brother this, right? He was unhappy with one of his jobs and he was talking to me about it, and I go, well, how often are you working? He's like, well, they give us like 4 projects and we have like the same deadline for every single one and we try to prioritize it and this and this and this. And I just go, how much are you working a week? He's like, probably like 60 hours. I go, well, how much are they paying you to work a week? He goes, well, you know, it's like a regular work week. Probably, you know, it's probably, I'm salary, but they say it should be a 40-hour work week. I go, awesome, work 40 hours and stop. I was like, sick. Work 40 hours and stop. Or ask for a raise for the extra 20 hours a week you are working. I was like, that's what you should do, because that's ridiculous. I think it's stupid, and I think, you know, businesses get away with taking advantage of people because there's always a person for the job. I'm like, once you show that you're not replaceable, you should really start to make the company give you the value that they want out of you. Yeah, they like clean ones and zeros, right? That Boolean. Are we curling up on a 15-minute MACD? We are curling up. This is why I wanted to stay a little bit. We have that 15-minute trying to curl up. We have 13 minutes left, though. Okay? We have 13 minutes left, but this is a pretty good sign. I mean, this is pretty good. Remember, we were talking about how buying can get those flags. I really like the buying structure now. I like that it's up here for the SPY. because the Q's already had it pretty up for the SPY. The SPY was the lackluster one, if you recall. So the Q's, right, and I think we were more so drawing it like this, right, something like this, right? But that's pretty good. That's not bad. So we'll see. It's still got to curl up. It's still got to take back that monthly. Notice that the monthly resistance, right? We tried to gap above it, lost it right away. So we can use these levels as resistance. But this is curling up in positive territory, man. This is curling up in positive territory. That's great. But it's a 15-minute chart. You guys know my feelings about a 15-minute. I'm not the biggest fan. I like my 30 minutes, but we'll watch a 15 for now. See if this can curl down. I can try to check real quick for a QBTS. I'm sure someone's talking about it. March 12th. One thing I'm seeing is Beyond Classic, D-Wave first to demonstrate quantum supremacy on useful real-world problem. Looks like D-Wave Advantage 2 achieves computational supremacy in quantum simulation. That comes from Wall Street. Pending material news. Okay, so the main thing I'm seeing everyone post is, okay, new landmark peer-reviewed paper published in Science Beyond Classic Computation in Quantum Simulation unequivocally validates D-Wave's achievement of the world's first and only demonstration of quantum computational supremacy on a useful real-world problem. Let me see if this is important here. Quantum computer performs magnetic material simulation in minutes that would take nearly 1 million years and more than the world's annual electricity consumption to solve using a classic supercomputer built even with GPU clusters. So they've really accomplished something to allow them to move forward quickly, quicker than we'd be able to without it. But we'll see what comes from it. Yeah, it's always like this. Mr. Pickle, it's kind of been like a fake rally that sells off, or do you get a fake sell-off that then rallies? And at this point, we're still just watching this. 2 hour. Look at the 2 hour. That one's sneaky, isn't it? You guys kind of forgot about the 2 hour. We've been on that 15-minute a little too long. That 2 hour is starting to confirm. Now, it's really deep, so we're aware of that, but my goodness, 2 hours, let's see if that gets an upward move and confirms in the next hour and a half, right? AMC's not loving life. AMC's starting to turn down. VIX, nice. Starting to go below that 5 just ever so slightly. We'll see. But just remember, this is the most important. And then we'll see if we can catch that move all the way to 491. That would be nice for the Qs. That would be nice. See, SPY's not doing it. SPY's not above the 5, so Qs do look better. But we'll watch the 15-minute. First time I catch live, love this channel already. Hey, thanks, Reese. I appreciate it. We're live a little bit longer today, but Reese, turn on those notifications, man. We'd love to have you here. I'd love to look at something for you. More so towards the beginning, right? We're about to end the stream in a second here. QBTS unhalted and jumping. I did hear another halt out here. Let me see real quick. Oh, QBTS I think might have came out of the halt. No, it looks like another SPHL. Another, let's look what this thing is doing. SPHL? I don't even know what this is. My goodness, that got halted. Do you see how it's a quick move? So I think it's over 5% in 5 minutes, it halts. And then it moved again, over 5% in 5 minutes, it halts. So you got 2 halts like back to back here. Not a good sign for that bad boy. Let's look at QBTS though. Did it get, I'll know if it gets halted again. I have halts here. No LUDP halt just yet. Screaming, screaming, screaming. That means big money had a chance to buy into this, so it's allowed to run, right? Hey, it got halted. No one can trade it, right? It got halted. No one can trade it. Really? No one? No one? Oh, man. Markets are funny. You guys, this stock's about to see a big news release and get a big upward move. Halt it. All right, now buy in. Okay, unhalt it. Gap's higher. My freaking guy, dude. To the moon, boys. Are you going to FIFA World Cup? I tried to. I actually have a buddy of mine. My friend is married to him. He's like the head or whatever of that USA national team fan group that goes to every game. So I've been trying to talk to him about it, but yeah, I would love to go. We're gonna try to. Me and my buddy are gonna try to go, but we'll have to see. All my friends are starting to have kids, so it makes everything complicated. Uber probably would see some good profits during that. Awesome, good luck is right. I don't watch a lot of soccer anymore because I was at such a high level that it makes me almost depressed. If I go to a soccer game, I gotta get a little drunk. It might be inbound, we'll see. We're still aware this is how the 30-minute fails. The 30-minute is not failing yet. 30 minutes still could fail up here. We are not positive. Then after that, if we see all good things, that's fantastic. We love it for our options, but if that 2-hour fails, maybe even towards 582, right? We could see big moves. We'll find out. Tesla gets past 250. Tesla's at a great level, and I think you're right to say 250. You'd ultimately not want to get rejected from a few levels. I would say right here. I would say the gap fill level is pretty important, right? We kind of see how the bottom of this wick is pretty much right at the gap fill. So this can be some resistance coming in. So that's why I think you actually want to see this pull back to launch through that, but we'll see. 30-minute here is actually able to go positive. That's a great sign that Tesla could even get a higher low if it wanted to curl down, but it's not even overbought yet, so. Where's the best entry? The best entry's already happened, in my opinion. It's just, do we get a better one, right? Amazon, bam, right there, right, this bar right here. That was great for Amazon. Nvidia was this one or this one, but this was the first one. Bam, right there was the entry. Meta. I think it was this. No, it was actually these ones in here. Good entries. As far as if I'm waiting for 2 hours, okay, I need to see a positive bar above the 9. What did I see right here? Bam, positive bar above the 9 technically, so even that wouldn't be bad. Microsoft and Google, you got to give these things more time. But if I wanted to jump in early, as long as I'm confident with how to manage risk, I can always just pay attention to that 30-minute rolling if I want to make a decision now, right? But I like to, you know, a lot of the time in bear market, like high volatility, I am waiting for that to confirm a lot of the time. Am I late for everything? Just a little, Zana. Just a little bit, but that's okay. Here's the thing. You have 2-hour divergence everywhere. If you go back, or actually just watch last night's video real quick. I'm dead serious. You have time. Go watch last night's video. If you're coming in at the end of the stream, go watch last night's video. Because we talk about all of the things that are happening right now and the risk that you need to be aware of, right? And how these things could fail, right? We even talk about how high up we could go if we start to confirm all these things, okay? Okay, you did twice. Then you have a pretty good idea of what we're watching then, right? And what did we say in that video? The 30-minute is the first rejection we're going to watch. We have not seen that rejection just yet. No, that's great, Zana. I'm glad. You're like, hey, I'm learning, and you're watching the video twice. That's awesome. Last night's video was a great full video of assessing what is going on and putting it all together and making an argument for, could people get caught off guard by an upward move? And I think the answer to that question was very obviously yes from last night's video. And then we also pay attention to, even if we get an upside move, if that is going to fail. And that's what you want to do as a trader, right? Make sure everything's going right. When it's going right, you're feeling good. Once you see something go wrong, might be a time to react. Just what is going wrong? The definition of wrong to you might be different to me. So I kind of talk about it how I would see something going wrong. 561 by the end of the day. I think you could see 570 by the end of the day. We'll see. I think you could still to this moment see this and then see this. Right? We could curl down for a while here. All the way into the end of the day. And then you see that little buy come in. Then PPI is good. That'd be nice. I think you do want to move these daily expected moves back into the monthly. That would help us a lot. If we see these daily expected moves shift up, that would be nice. So closing here would be nice. Because then you very obviously go, okay, we're going to go to that gap most likely. So we'll see how those daily expected moves come out, but we will be watching this a little bit later. We just got to watch out for failures because you are still at risk of a big drop down in these areas. But this is when it's like, hey, fear, right? It looks risky, it looks risky, but we have signals that suggest we really shouldn't, as long as we're comfortable traders, we really shouldn't be that worried about it. Dash is on the way up, forming a cup and handle on the weekly. Let's look at Dash real quick. DoorDash, hey, another one, right? DoorDash could potentially do good things. With, what were you guys talking about? With the World Cup, right? So for this, the 30-minute was able to go positive. Notice that, and we take back the 5. So we should be aware that a lower high can happen, but it's still, if this 30-minute crosses down, it might be a little too uncomfortable for me to be like, oh yeah, I want to hold my calls through this 30-minute pullback, right? I'm more likely to hold calls through a 30-minute pullback if the MACD is at higher levels, right? Because if the MACD is at higher levels, even than this, right? This is actually pretty good according to this stock. This is where you see a lot of those curl up, curl downs, but a little bit higher up would have been nicer, just a little bit. But in this area, I think if we could see a little bit more positivity, I'd be more comfortable holding through. Right now, I don't think I'm the most comfortable holding through a 30-minute pullback because it's still by that center line a little bit. So we'll look at it. The 2-hour able to confirm up. Just remember that this 2-hour has just a divergence on the RSI. So if you need to make them at the same time, I mean, look at the rips you got and how that ended up falling. So this rip could fall again and then see something like that. So we're just aware of the risks, right? But you do have a 2-hour RSI divergence, which would suggest that the daily can confirm up here. So at the end of the day, if the daily curls up, and by end of the day, I'm talking, you know, figuratively, if the daily is able to curl up eventually, you would be more happy with that if nothing goes wrong in here and you just see a good move maybe tomorrow or the next day that curls up that MACD, you'd be very happy with it. And that's the goal. The goal of this 2-hour divergence on the RSI is to turn up the daily chart. But we look at this buying and we go, I don't know if I trust this that much. It looks like this could happen. So might be risky for now, but might set something even better up later. Doesn't mean the trade's not here now. It has potential, but just not the most potential it could. Weekly chart? Ooh, I don't like that weekly chart. What are you saying? Let me see what you're seeing on the weekly. Give me a second here. Dash is on the way up, forming a cup and handle on the weekly. Oh, I had to zoom out a little bit. I'd be a little bit cautious with this, okay? You do have that divergence on the weekly flat. It is flat, okay? So you have that, and you're reacting down to the level. So very good stuff. The daily can still curl up from this. I see what you're saying. You would probably need almost an equal. I don't know if I'd say cup and handle. We'll see, but you could do something all the way down like this, right? We could see that pull all the way down into what? The breakout area before that's able to curl back up. So we'll see, but as of right now, it looks like the shorter time frames are the thing to pay attention to. I don't think this thing's all the way done yet. I don't think it's the most likely to see that right now. I think you could see another upward move that causes that. But yeah, I see what you're seeing. I guess I get you. Head and shoulder or cup and handle. Yeah. Mr. Pickle, don't be looking at that past, right? Oh, I missed something. Look for something else. Stay in that positive trend, my dude. I don't see you miss a lot of moves. I don't see you saying you miss a lot of moves very often. So that's unfortunate. Okay, so 15-minute was able to do it. Yeah, 15-minute was able to do it, suggesting that that can be possible. Now, we're still, but this is where it's risky, right? Anywhere below this, we want to be paying attention to roll downs. But I do have to pop off, guys. I gotta go for a bit here. I hope you guys are having a great day. I really, really do. I thank all of you guys for liking the stream today. Even if you didn't like it, I thank you for being here. Okay, thank you for being here, contributing to the chat. I appreciate you guys so much. I wanted to stay live for a longer period of time today. Thank you to some people showing up a little bit later. If you consistently are missing live streams, hey, turn on those notifications and make sure to show up at the beginning of the video. Because in the first 10 minutes before we actually open, I do like to look at some things we were paying attention to going into this trading session. So yeah, if you want to show up a little bit earlier, that would be nice. Hey, I understand some of you guys got to sleep and stuff like that. I'm sure not all of you guys are in the same time zone, but thank you guys so much for being here today. Hope you guys have a wonderful one. Trade like water, manage risk. There seems to be a lot of opportunities showing themselves out there. And if we're comfortable managing risk, we're comfortable taking trades with those type of signals, then we really can't be damaged too badly unless we see a massive drop down, right? And since we're in an environment where we've been seeing some big drops down, maybe I don't want to use $20,000 behind an option play, right? I'm going to go down to my basic one, which might be only $1,000. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Peace out. See you tomorrow, Zana. I like the picture change. Thank you for joining today, Zana. Peace out.